and see who's gonna be on for tonight. I got all my there we go. I got all my streams set up. So right now I am live on YouTube, I am live on Twitch, and I am live on Facebook. Let me go ahead and start that. All right, cool. How y'all doing tonight? How y'all doing tonight? I hope y'all doing good. I hope y'all doing well. I do see people coming in. All right, cool. We already at 1.1K likes. That's a big W, y'all. That's a big W, y'all. We already at 1.1K likes. That is a huge W. I appreciate y'all for doing that. I appreciate y'all for rocking with me. Appreciate y'all for always being patient, even though I'm not always patient. Well, old Abe, I don't believe in the death penalty actually, and I never said get rid of prisons. So why do our black families vote for the party who enslaved them? I don't know. Here's the thing that I always say, and I'm gonna say it again. I say it for every live. Do not yap in the comments. Actually, request up and actually let's have a discussion about it. Don't just talk in the comments, y'all. I hate that. All right, here we go. I see people just talking in the comments, so I'm just gonna go ahead and start inviting. And someone already blocked me. Wonderful.
Hey,
Hey, how's it going, Sherry?
it's Sheree, but I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right, Sheree. Uh, what is that, Mr. JT, Mr. TJF? Just go ahead and
Mm-hmm.
mute up for me. I'm gonna talk to Sheree real quick.
Sure.
So Sheree, I'm assuming that you disagree with something I have on the board.
Yes,
All right, and are you over 18?
yes.
All right, cool.
60.
Gotcha. All right, cool. Give me 1 second. All right, YS, I'm gonna bring you up in a bit. Let me just talk to Sheree and Mr. T first. All right, Sheree, we have about 15 minutes on the clock. Go ahead, talk to me. What do you disagree with and why?
Well, hang on, I'm reading it.
Sure.
Being woke is good for everyone. Why is being woke good for everyone? That's what I'd like to know.
Because woke is simply aware of racial and social injustice, and if you're aware of racial and social injustice, you can do something about it.
All right. Actually, all of them up there are actually real, so I don't really have an argument. But I do have an argument because you, the Democrats vote for Democrats for years. They have promised us everything, and we deliver nothing. Am I wrong?
Okay.
Am I wrong?
Not really. I mean, nothing up here says anything about Democrats, so
Well, but that's what I'm saying. The leftist is the Democrat Party, right?
no, the Democrats are right wing.
Oh, I thought the MAGA was right.
Yeah, I mean the Republicans are more right than the Democrats, but the Democrats are right wing.
Okay, well, yeah.
What do you consider to be left wing?
Hold on, Mr. T. Let me talk to Sheree first.
Yeah.
The reason why I say that the Democrats are right wing is because they can't even agree on getting health care passed. So they're definitely not on the left.
But they did get Obamacare.
Which, I mean, Obamacare did some good things like expanding Medicaid, but that's really it.
That's it. You're right. It's not that great. We should go back to regular insurance. Let us pick our own.
No, we should go back to single. Well, we should just do single payer.
Well, yeah, that's true too. So, let me ask you, how do you feel about the Democratic Party last night?
They
Do
should
you
have
think
left
they were
without
right?
Green. I didn't watch all of the what's that called? It's like the State of the Union address because I just like it. I haven't watched them since since like Obama's first one because they're just kind of boring. But I actually agree with Al Green that Trump doesn't have the mandate to remove Medicaid or do anything about Medicaid. That's not his mandate. That's not in the purview of the job of the president. So him acting like it is actually goes against everything that we have. That actually goes against our systems. But if people want to go ahead and break down the systems, I mean, sure. But it's what are we breaking down the system to actually do?
Okay,
But
so you're saying he can't replace Obamacare with his care,
that's
his
Congress's
Congress?
job, not his.
Huh?
That's a job of Congress, not his.
Right, but he can propose one.
He can propose one. He just hasn't yet. All he did was propose cuts to Medicaid, and that's it.
Well, see, that's not correct all the way either. Yes, he is doing cuts, but like he said last night, there's people on there that's 150, 200, and 300 years old.
That was
That is
debunked.
actually, no, it wasn't.
You talking about the Social Security thing?
Yeah.
That was debunked.
And there's a lot on Medicare that some of them's not alive and still collecting it.
That was debunked.
Who debunked that?
Mathematicians and people who actually work in the system, because Medicaid, Social Security, they use an old system of coding, and it just defaults everyone's age. That doesn't mean that people who are 100 years old are actually getting it. You can't get something if you're dead. That was been debunked. That was debunked weeks ago. Elon
Well,
Musk
if
is
you
not
put
smart,
your
y'all.
name
Like
on
I don't know why people think Elon Musk is smart. He's not smart. The names are on it and it says a certain age, but that doesn't mean that they actually are that age. Like it just says Social Security and Medicare uses an old coding system. If you know the old coding system, you would know that. But Elon Musk doesn't pay attention to that. So
Okay,
because he's
so
not a smart person.
when they track this money and the person that is first, the original, let's say the original one that's supposed to receive it, is not receiving it, but somebody else is, you think that's not going to be fraud?
Of course that's fraud.
But
No one's saying that
you're
there's
saying
absolutely
that it's not in there at all.
right. What I'm
But
saying is that no one is saying that there's absolutely no fraud that happens in Social Security, zero fraud that happens in Medicaid. Of course, that fraud happens. Everyone knows that happens. But like what Elon Musk is saying is that the people who are 175 are receiving Medicare and Social Security. It's not happening. He just doesn't understand the code.
okay, all right, I get it.
Cool. You got anything else?
No, I think that's it because I really agree with all what you got up there, so I can't really debunk that.
All right, not a problem. I appreciate you. All right, I do see everybody else who's requesting. Sherry, I appreciate you for being up. I'm gonna go ahead and move on to Mr. TJ right now. I do see everybody who's in the chat. I mean, not in the chat. Who's in the box requesting? YS, I'm gonna bring you up in a little bit, and Real Deal 87, I'm gonna bring you up in a bit as well. Let me just talk to Mr. T first. All right, y'all. We got 3.4K likes, 65 people in the room. I appreciate you all. Appreciate the follows, and please subscribe to me. And I have a gift goal. Link in my bio for all my social medias. Mr. T, are you over 18, and do you disagree with something I have on the board?
Yes, I'm over 18. You don't think that there's a leftist agenda in universities and on social media platforms?
No.
You don't see that?
There are people who are leftists on social media, but that doesn't mean that the social media platforms themselves have a leftist agenda.
What about when social media platforms overregulate right wingers and censor them?
If they go against terms of service, that's the right wingers' fault.
What if it's not against terms of service?
Then the bots are having a problem. That happens to everyone.
So, like when the FBI told Facebook they have to block anything that has to do with the Hunter Biden laptop thing because it damaged the leftist candidate, Joe Biden, you don't think that that was evidence of what I'm saying?
That didn't happen.
That didn't happen.
No.
Mark Zuckerberg, the owner, said that it did.
So?
So do you know more than Mark Zuckerberg about Facebook?
No, I think he's a liar.
Oh, you think he's lying?
Yes, because when they actually asked them for evidence of this thing, and they said what they said, Like when they actually asked him for proof of what he was saying, and he provided proof of what they're saying, all they said was to block misinformation, not to block anything that has to do with Hunter Biden's laptop. There were plenty of posts on social media about Hunter Biden's laptop.
Well,
Plenty.
my post got taken down about it. I know
Mine
that's
didn't.
anecdotal,
Mine
but
didn't.
a lot of people who post anything that had to do with anything bad for Biden were getting blocked and shadow banned. I know I'm shadow banned for a lot of the stuff I say on YouTube because I used to get lots of likes, and then I started getting political, and now all of a sudden I get no likes. But you don't think there's any kind of woke agenda whatsoever, not even in universities?
What does woke mean?
Well, that's the thing. You can define woke as however you want because it's kind of like a what do you call it? Underground Wikipedia. What do they call that? Like a
Where did woke come from? That term. Where did it come from?
well, it might have came from the idea of being of understanding that there are racial and gender specific like benefits and just being aware of that. But woke has turned into a term that means anything that has to do with far right leftism or far left leftism. My bad.
According to who? Because the only people who are saying that are conservatives who didn't even know what it meant.
I mean, everybody I've asked about what woke is, you can just kind of give a general idea of it, but you can define it if you want to define it as what it is. I mean, terms change, just like the word GAY doesn't mean what it means.
Right. Terms change. I understand that terms change, and there's a reason why they change. But what I'm saying is when it comes to woke, there was no reason for it to change except for white conservatives didn't know what it meant.
Well, now if you're into a bunch of genders instead of just two,
That has
that's
nothing to
considered-
do with the way with racial awareness. Nothing.
right, but that's considered woke now
Why?
because woke is just considered anything that's far left right now.
Why?
That's how the term has changed because
it ha-
that's how
but-
society works.
But the society didn't. Society
we
didn't.
changed
didn't-
the utilization of words.
But the society didn't do anything. White conservatives said this was woke, and you all just believed it for no reason.
It's not just white conservatives; it's white liberals that use it for that
No.
term as well.
No, they don't. They didn't use it for that. For that, they said that I'm woke because I'm aware of racial injustice, and then they had blue hair and were transgender, and then white conservatives just said, okay, being woke is someone blue hair and far left. Doesn't mean that. It has no utility at all. As a matter of fact, you know the new Captain America movie has been being called woke just because the Captain America is black, even though he was black in the comics. It has no utility.
Right. Well, anything that is crashing out on white conservatism or any kind of whiteness at all is considered woke right now.
How does having a black Captain America crashes out on whiteness, and why is crashing out on whiteness considered woke?
Well, I think people thought it's woke because they have a red Hulk who's the president, and I think that's supposed to be a ploy on Trump being orange.
That
And
was
then-
a story in
and
the
then
comics.
I know, I understand that, but right now, because of the political climate, it's considered woke because it's like, okay, this black man has to destroy this guy who's kind of mimics Trump. That's what they're trying to say. That's what people think. They think
Do you not see how stupid that is?
I mean, I didn't see the movie, so I don't know.
Right.
I
But
know
what I'm
people
saying
call-
is, what I'm saying is, people calling that woke, even though it was a story in the comics, you don't see how that means it has no utility. The only utility that it has is to be racist.
right, just like when people called Elon Musk doing the Roman salute, they said that was a Heil Hitler. That's
There
not-
is no
that's not
Roman
useful
salute.
either.
There's no Roman salute. That doesn't exist.
Well, him saying "I give my heart to you" and then grabbing his heart and then throwing it to the crowd. They said
that was a Nazi salute.
You think so? You think
Yeah.
that he?
Yes, it
who
was a Nazi
is
salute.
super pro-Israel. He's he's pro-Israel, right?
Irrelevant.
That's irrelevant. So being pro-Israel and being pro you know who is there's no relevance there.
Nope.
So you can be pro Yazis and also pro Israel at the same time.
Yep.
Wow. How's that work?
Because the Yazis wanted the Jews to have their own ethno state. And what is Israel?
The Yazis also gassed them and put them into chambers. So
Yeah.
they were not in support of them at all.
Yeah, and
Elon Musk
Zionist.
is in support of them.
You realize that Zionist doesn't mean Jewish, right?
Yeah, I didn't say that word.
Right. Okay. So the issue is that Zionism in of itself is refers to once an ethno state, and it's colonialism. The people who actually created Zionism even admitted that it was colonialism.
Do you
So
think
him
that,
him supporting a colonial state is not surprising.
what evidence other than that salute, which I can show you pictures of tons of people on the
Can you
left?
show me
making the same
videos?
salute. I can
me
show you a
videos?
video of Kamala Harris's VP making that same salute. Tons
Really?
of times. Yes.
No, yeah, you can show me pictures of like still pictures of them like having their hands up to the sky, but you can't show me videos of them doing this. They don't do that.
If he says, I throw my heart out to you, and then grabs his chest and flings his hand out, he didn't even do the Heil the right way at all. If he does that,
doesn't matter.
what evidence
It
other
was
than
a salute.
that, which is very loose, do you have that he's a Yahtzee supporter?
The fact that he reposts Nazi things.
Like what?
For example, on his for example, he constantly reposts what was that thing called? No, the white genocide stuff. He constantly reposts that type of stuff.
What do you mean?
Constantly.
What's the white genocide stuff?
White genocide stuff is like post on Twitter that talk about the European homeland and whites going away, white genocide type of stuff. He posts it all the time. White
Well,
genocide is
talking about-
white genocide is a conspiracy theory that was started by a French Yahtzee, and
Well,
he
if you're talking
reposts that
about-
stuff all the time. So he's a
if,
Yahtzee.
if you're talking about reposting things that have to do with white people being replaced and more,
Yeah, replacement
from
theory
other
was created
cultures?
by a Yahtzee.
okay.
Replacement theory was created by a Yahtzee, and
Do you
he
disagree
agrees
that?
with it.
Do you disagree that that's happening in Europe?
No,
that there's
it's
less and
not.
less white people and more
It's
and more
not.
Arabs
It's not.
and other cultures of people.
It's not.
You don't think that's happening?
No. The majority of Europe is still white.
Right, but do you think that it's slow? It's growing pretty quickly. There's
Even if it
there's
was,
talks of
so
Sharia
what?
law being instituted in certain UK towns.
It's not happening.
There's talks of it.
No, there's talks of excuse me. There's talks of Muslims themselves deciding between their own parties, between themselves, to do Sharia law. How's that a problem?
Well, if a town that used to be one way, I mean, I have the example of my own hometown, but I won't use it. But if a town that used to be majority of American people slowly turns into majority Sharia law endorsing people, which is whatever, that's their culture. A lot of people see that as like, oh, this culture is coming in to replace mine. And I think that's where a lot of people get upset. Most people who agree with that don't agree with Yahtzee sentiment or with anything that happened in Germany during that time.
Yeah, but
So
that's not
I think
happening.
the term Yahtzee is way too loose.
But what I'm saying is that that's not happening. Hold on, you said the word Yahtzee is too loose, but we're using woke to mean anything. You know what I mean? You don't think that means it's too loose? Either?
Well, yeah, they're both being used very loosely. Like calling the Captain America movie woke probably isn't true. It's probably a normal, fine movie. It's probably more Marvel slop. But calling it woke just because the character's black, yeah, that's obviously using it way too loose. They're using these terms, these hardcore terms, way too loose on both sides. But
I can agree that there are some times where the left uses Yahtzee way too loosely. I agree
Yeah.
with that. But when we're talking about certain symbolism and certain ideologies being spread, especially ones that were started by Yahtzees themselves, then it's not being loose. Like if I tell you Great Replacement Theory was started by a Yahtzee, and then Elon Musk, the richest man in the world, is reposting Replacement Theory, which was started by a Yahtzee, and if you go to the post that he's reposting, and those people there have Nazi symbolism in their all over their Twitter feed, then yeah, I'm gonna be like, yeah, he's reposting Yahtzees. He agrees with the Yahtzees. What does that make him?
do you know which party created the KKK?
Irrelevant.
Irrelevant. Well, let's
Yeah.
follow that same line of logic with the Democrats. Do you think that Democrats are racist in general?
Let me ask you a question. Do you see Democrats anywhere up here?
I'm just saying, we're not. I don't see Yahtzees up there anywhere either. But we're having a conversation. You're going down the line. You're saying if it originates from a person that has a bad ideology, a certain idea, then anyone who subscribes to that idea is therefore a part of their entire ideology. That's just a misnomer. That's not that doesn't work.
Right, but what I'm saying is that are there any Democrats now that are part of the Triple K? Or is
maybe
the
secretly.
is
Who
the
knows?
the Democratic platform is it the Triple K platform?
A lot of people could make arguments. I mean, Kathy Hochul of the New York party said that blacks don't even know what computers are. I would say that that's deep-seated racism, whether she wants to admit it or not.
Who are you even talking about? I'm talking about the Democratic platform.
Yeah, the mayor of New York, or governor, maybe she is, Hochul is a Democrat. She came out and said that black people are basically too dumb to know what a computer is.
When did she say this?
She said this. You can look it up. She say Kathy Hochul. Is her name Kathy Hochul, the governor? She said these kids from the Bronx, these black kids from the Bronx, they don't even know what computer is. They don't even know what that word is. And a lot of black people were very upset at her about it. I live in New York. Look up New York governor says black kids from the Bronx don't know what a computer is. Or when Biden said black kids are just as, or what does he say? Black kids are just as smart as white kids or something like that. Or
How's that wrong?
well, he didn't say it like that. He said it in a way that was demeaning. These people, they say that you shouldn't have to show ID at the voting ballots because black people.
All right. So in New York, Kathy Hochul is facing backlash for saying black church. Right now, we have young black kids growing up in the Bronx who don't even know what the word computer is. They don't know these things.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that shows
sure,
an
that's-
evidence of deep-seated racism to think that black people don't know that.
She didn't say black people don't know that. She said there are kids in the Bronx who don't know what the word computer
Who do you
is.
think she's talking about?
Yeah, kids in the Bronx, black kids in the Bronx.
Right. So
Yeah.
prove my point. Thank you.
Right, but that doesn't mean that the Democratic platform is with the triple K just because she
Right,
said
but
that. There are
this
racist people.
slippery
I'm not gonna
slope.
say that there are not racist people who are Democratic. Of
Well, you
course
just
there are.
asked me. You said, "Are there any racist people in the Democratic Party?" And
No,
then
I
gave you that
said
example.
I said does the Democratic platform is part of the triple K? Is it the same thing? I said the Democratic platform is it the triple K? And you
Well,
said
it's-
this one person said something racist.
Well, there can be Democrats that are racist. Is my point.
Yes, there can be Democrats that are racist. That doesn't mean that the Democratic platform is the triple K.
Well, this originally started with you saying that Elon following somebody or reposting something that has to do with somebody who was originally a Yahtzee or whatever,
And
if they
agreeing with
agree
Yahtzees,
anything,
he's a
if they
he's
agree
a
with
Yahtzee.
anything he says, well, if you agree with anything the Democratic Party, which came from, or the KKK came from them, I mean, you can follow that same line of logic. It's
No,
disingenuous.
you can't. No, you can't. I'm talking about one person. You're talking about a whole party. That makes no sense. I'm talking about one person. You're talking about a group of people. You're talking about a political institution. I'm talking about one guy.
Yahtzeeism is a political institution.
Yahtzeeism is an ideology. It's a racist ideology.
Either way, you could say KKK is an ideology.
Yeah, they were an institution and an ideology, and I'm saying, okay, so this institution was a racist institution. Is the Democratic Party also a racist institution? I'm not saying that there are no Democrats who are racist. Of course there are. I'm talking about the Democratic Party. Does it agree with the triple K institution? Are they the same thing? And they're not. I'm saying that Elon Musk reposted Nazis, agrees with Nazis, and has a whole bunch of and has used Nazi rhetoric. So I'm going to say that this guy's probably a Nazi. The Democrats don't use the triple K rhetoric. They don't. This one lady did something racist and very, very ignorant. But the party doesn't have a triple K platform. They don't push triple K on policies. They don't do any
You
of
don't
that.
think that thinking black people are too low IQ to get an
Yes,
ID?
that person
You don't
is a
think that-
racist. But that
don't
doesn't
think-
mean that the entire party is in of itself is
That's
racist.
what they were platforming. That's the reason behind them not wanting people to have IDs. At the
No,
voter ballots.
because when it's actually been shown that when you put these laws in place for the voter ID, Republicans always exclude black people. This happened in North Carolina.
You don't
in
think
Nor-
that it's
in-
because
in
they want
North-
to cheat. You think that
No, in North Carolina, they put in a voter ID law, right? And the North Carolina Supreme Court even said you guys are targeting black people with surgical precision. They even admitted that. It's not because they have voter ID. It's a type of ID that they always allow. As a matter of fact, what was going on with voter ID in North Carolina is that they were saying that names were quote unquote misspelled when it's a name like Shaniqua or Tamika or something like that. And they say, oh, the name is misspelled. Who's most likely to be named Tamika?
well, that's a much better argument than what I heard from all the Democrats, which was that black people can't get IDs. That's the argument I heard.
Yeah, it's not about can't getting IDs. Yes, people lose IDs, and because black people are poor, they're probably gonna have less time and less likely to go get an ID. That part is true.
Right.
But it's not about black people not being smart enough to get IDs. Of course, they're smart enough to get IDs.
Bro, every black person has an ID that I've ever met. That's great.
Yeah, they have ID, but it could be expired or it could be damaged or it has a name that's misspelled.
So you don't think there should be voter ID at all?
If they're gonna have voter ID, just give everyone a federal one for free.
I mean, yeah, that would be great too. The idea is that a lot of illegal migrants were going to come and vote. I think that was the big worry for everyone.
And that wasn't happening. That's a lie.
That wasn't happening at all.
No. Every single time it's investigated, they show that it doesn't happen.
the state of Virginia was in a lawsuit because they took off a bunch of people from the ballot that had crossed. There's a question on the ballot that says, "Are you an American citizen?" They crossed that out, and so they took all those off, and all those were Kamala voters basically. And then the Harris campaign made them put it back, and there was a big lawsuit. There was definitely some voter ID, some voter.
So how come every time it's investigated, it comes up with bupkis?
Well, a lot of things are investigated. This is another thing. Anything that's woke is given every kind of leeway possible.
What does woke mean?
Left, let's say left. Everything that has to do with the Democratic side gets leeway, and anything that's Trump got in trouble for all that stuff. The Shark Tank guy, everybody who does anything in business says that was all bupkis too, and he was attacked for that. So when they want to find bupkis, there's bupkis. When they don't, there's nothing. I've noticed that.
I have no idea what you're even talking about at this point. Every single time that they actually investigate any time about like these so-called dead people voting and migrants voting, et cetera, it always comes up with nothing. Why would it come up with nothing even when the Democrats lose?
Well, I
no
disagree
sense.
with that. They did find a lot of voter fraud that had to do.
No,
with
they didn't.
migrants. No.
No, it's rare. And every time they found it, as a matter of fact, it was a Republican voting twice.
So that whole thing with Virginia suing Kamala, that's probably just bupkis then.
Yeah, I'm looking into that because I haven't
assume-
even heard of that. I'm gonna look into that.
Yeah, look into it. Let's assume I'm wrong about it. But going back to Elon, you really think that the guy he has the Israeli hostages?
He's a
He has
racist.
their names on his.
Yes,
on
he's
his-
a
on
racist.
necklace.
Yes, he's a
You think
racist.
He's a part of the Yahtzees.
Yes, and he's a racist.
You think so?
Yes. You know why?
Why?
Because you know who also supported Israel?
Who?
Apartheid South Africa. Where is Elon from?
South Africa.
Apartheid era South Africa.
Okay.
He's a racist.
What's is apartheid Africa Yahtzee supporters?
Yes. There were Yahtzee supporters and there were Israel supporters.
And they supported Israel. Well, that's
Yeah.
that's such a oxymoron.
He's a racist. I know it sounds like it, but Yahtzees actually do want Jews to have their own ethno state, which is what Zionism does.
So you can be you support Israel as long as they have their own state, and but you hate them.
Pretty much. You want them
you
to be
also hate
separate. You want them to be separate from
Why was he like
everyone in the world.
teary-eyed talking about the hot?
All right, y'all. So he did get removed. My mod removed him. So I appreciate everybody being here. I appreciate everyone who's in the comments. All right, I'm gonna figure out what's going on with my stream over on YouTube because I know someone wants to join, but they're saying my stream is not found. I'm not sure why that is or what's going on with that. I appreciate you all being here. YS, I did see you, and placeholder, I see you as well. YS, I think we spoke yesterday. Do you disagree with anything I have on the board?
It's hard to. I think you have to listen more because I scroll like click, 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 and I've come on your panel a few times. Like, okay, what does that mean? I was sort of confused. Cherie, I think her name was, when she talked about what's left. It's not that I disagree. I think they are placeholder. They're topics that we keep talking about over and over. But to get understanding, you have to dialogue. So that's why I'm just sort of, okay, I don't know what he means by left because I do associate leftists with Democrats for some reason. I do associate woke with the left party as Democrats for some reason. And I could be totally wrong, but they're like placeholders that we keep talking about year after year after year. I don't know what the substance is. Everything's so subjective. We talk about reparations. We've been talking about that for years, but what does it mean to each person? What is reparations, right? And the abortion issue, we have men talking about it. We have women talking about it. It's our bodies, but I don't understand where everybody is. I have worked with a lot of young people, and they're all over the map. They're very confused, and they hate Trump.
I can tell you what I
They
mean
hate-
by it if you. Okay, I can tell you what I mean by it if you ask. I'm just asking for your opinion. Do you disagree with any of this?
I don't know because it's so subjective. I don't know what to disagree with. Like if there was a bill and it says step 1, 2, 3, this is what we're gonna do, and I could say I disagree. Reparations has been on the table for many years, but nobody has come up with a plan. So what am I disagreeing with? Do we need it? Yes, some form, but I don't. It's so subjective, and everybody's so angry and so divisive. How could you ever get to the bottom? Even if Elon was racist as a person who's a believer, I go work with him. maybe I could change his mind so he isn't. But if we keep fighting, you know what I mean? I don't know. And actually I've been gang stalked for years, so I can't even get into these conversations. So I'm so busy trying to protect myself and figure out who's bothering me. And I do associate it with the Democrats because I trace like their patterns. I'm in a Democratic state. I'm where Hochul is. So she has said that. And there's been a lot of things that's done that I can't explain. And I associate it with they have the resources and the tools, they cheat. That's
Okay,
all
let's
I
go.
can
Let's
think
go
of.
ahead and go. Let's just go ahead and go one by one. When I say America was never great, I mean that to be great, a great country, you have to you have to live up to your ideals, and the American ideal was life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness and protection and of equal rights for everyone. America has never had that, so it's never been great. Reparations for Black Americans is exactly what it says. Just like how the Japanese got reparations, African Americans deserve reparations not only for slavery but for redlining, for black codes, for mass incarceration, for the war on drugs, etc. I think if there's a lump sum every year of $10,000 or $15,000 to every single African American family out there every single year for 30 years, I'll be fine with that. But we should also break down programs that also affected African Americans, like the criminal justice system. We need to redo it. We need to redo the education system. And not only would those things benefit Black Americans, they will benefit everyone, because the criminal justice system and the education system also affect poor whites. Universal health care is exactly what it says. We should just open Medicare to everybody because we already pay into it. Abortion rights is exactly what it says. Women have a right to their own bodies. Systemic racism is real. We see this in the criminal justice system. We see it in employment. We see it in housing. We see it in healthcare. Abolish the prison industry, meaning that the industry that's used to use like slave labor from prisoners and everything that goes along with it, like private prisons, tough on crime policies that does the same thing. We should need to get rid of that entire industry, and we need to move towards a system of rehabilitation. There is no rainbow agenda, meaning that LGBTQ individuals just want to live. They don't want to do anything to your kids. All that is stupid and unnecessary. Being woke is good for everyone. Woke is just means being aware of racial and social injustice, and everybody should be aware of racial and social injustice.
Can I ask you a question? Only because I have personal experiences. When I talked about gang stalking, those are things that strangers don't do. That's organized. Is I guess they punish you if you're not on their team. I don't know. It's evil, but it's like I had this conversation with some young people, and I said, as far as I know, at the federal level, just talking about abortion, they were trying to get it out of the federal hands, the federal level, and put it with the states. So, for example, I'm in New York. So I would look at New York and I would look at Georgia and I would say, okay, what does the law say about abortion in my state if the federal doesn't want that? And, we're constantly looking at the federal and Trump and what he says and does. But if I want to make a choice, the choice is with the governor, right? So state and local elections, I am a minority, considered minority. I don't like that word. I am an African American. I'm a melanated woman. And I've watched half of my life watching melanated folks in positions at the local level to make changes. Like Trump just got in a couple months ago, but I've been watching people that look like me for 20, 15 years. And it's not until, and they're all Democrats, it's not until somebody challenges them or come up with something, all of a sudden that's where woke comes for me. All of a sudden they want to get out there, they want to call our civil rights leaders, they want to march, but they had the power to do those things. Our roads look the same. They have the power to do those things. So
Let me ask you a question, YS. You said that you're an African American woman, and you were born in what, the 70s or the 80s?
Late 60s.
You were born in the late 60s?
Yeah.
So that means you know what woke is then. You've heard Stay Woke before.
I hear it, but I don't. What I call woke in my mind, because I don't like cliches. I don't follow some of the stuff that we make up. I don't use the slang and all that. I just stay with where I am. I try to understand the topics. That's why I'm on. But woke to me sounds like awareness. That's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, so you know what it is.
Not that I have to be. Well, that's my definition. But all the fighting makes it very confusing because all we come from is not an intellectual standpoint. We come from I hate Trump, the orange man, I hate this, I hate that. It's not ever a deep conversation and change. It's the same argument year after year after year. Every election, it's the same argument.
But that's not what woke means. You know that they're using it wrong, and that's not what they're using it for in a way to be racist. Like, you already know what it is. So like saying that, you know, you don't really understand it because everybody fights, you already on the right side of history. You know that it means awareness, and because you grew up in this already. So everyone else who's using it the wrong way, all you gotta do is correct them, not placate to what they're saying.
But I grew up with a home where none of those terms were used. So all I saw was action. Like my dad just did a lot of stuff. And he wasn't anything elected for anything. And I grew up following his footsteps, and I'm not elected for anything. So I don't understand the arguments. So I can't even call somebody racist. I'd sit down and work with anybody. I'd be like, well, you're going to pay me if I need a job, if I'm making $16 an hour, and you want to pay me for my expertise and my education. I'm not going to argue about who's wrong, who's right. I'm like, I'm going to see if I can make a change. If I can't, then I'll speak out. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I don't know the arguments because I grew up with a father who did. He didn't talk. And as a matter of fact, when he passed, a lot of people related said, oh my God, I didn't know he did all that stuff. So I don't know the argument. I try to be peaceful, and it's all a bunch of baloney. And as far as the blue, once we get somebody angry and boisterous, they're our leader all of a sudden. Oh, she's boisterous. She speaks out for the people. I don't want that.
All right, placeholder, how's it going?
Hey, I'm well. How about you?
I'm all right. Are you over 18, and do you disagree with something I have on the board?
I am way over 18, double it. I don't disagree with anything that you have on the board, and you summarizing it so succinctly and perfectly is why you're the host and I'm in the box. I couldn't have said it better. I just came up because the dude before me, I wanted to address something that he had said, but if that's okay.
Oh yeah, that's fine. Go ahead and state up for me. Mr. Godbody, you there?
Sure. How you doing?
All right, cool. I'm all right. EBJ, are you there?
Yes.
All righty. Just give me a second. All right, Godbody, are you over 18, and do you disagree with something I have on the board?
Yes, sir. I'm over 18, and yeah, I got a different perspective on some things on board.
All right, give me 1 second. EBJ, are you over 18, and do you disagree with something I have on the board?
Yes and yes.
All right, cool. Placeholder, you can. I gotta drop you down for a little bit, so I'm not getting too cluttered. But I appreciate you and appreciate you being up here. All right. Not a problem. All right, I'm gonna go with Mr. Godbody first. Godbody, just to warn you, your mic is a little muffled, so I'm not sure if you're on speaker or if you're driving or anything like that. Just people may not be able to hear you very well. All right. All right. So you said that you disagree with something I have on the board, or actually have a different perspective. I'll go ahead and put some time on the clock. What you got?
All right. I just start with okay, talk to a leftist, right? So let me just make sure that I'm on the same page as far as definition of this leftist thing. So how I'm taking it is basically someone who goes against the grain, who has a different understanding, or that is basically outside the norm. Is that what a leftist is?
I'm talking about the political left.
Okay. Elaborate just a little bit so I can make sure that
The political left, I'm essentially more on the socialist side. I believe in that the government and the economy should be working for everyone. I believe in things like I said, universal health care, rights to women. I believe in equality, things like that.
Okay. So what would be the opposition of this? What is it called, a rightist or something? Like what do they believe in?
Yeah, conservative.
The conservative. Okay, so they basically believe in like just one type of people. Is this where the race?
Conservative generally believe in traditionalism, but traditionalism tends to go against progress. So that's why I'm not a conservative.
Okay, I understand. Okay. All right. Well, I feel like both parties or both people, whether you're leftist or conservative, the way I'm hearing it, I feel like in order to elevate or to grow, I feel like it has to be a yin and a yang, saying a negative and a positive in order to be able to understand that there's room for growth, right? So like, for instance, I'm going on this reparations for Black Americans, right? The reason I don't agree with that type of lingo, say it like that, is because the Black American thing, I don't subscribe to that because it's like, how can you get reparations to an identity that was given to you by the oppressor? You know what I'm saying? So it's like I hear a lot of my people say the YT man this, YT this, and all that, right? And it's like, how can you escape a system or a matrix that was, or a language that was given to you? You know what I'm saying? Like basically what I'm saying is like African American. That is a Latin language. It comes from the Roman Empire, right? So it's like, how can you get reparations when you already subscribing to a misnomer, a misidentification, right? Something that was given to you for confusion. You know what I'm saying? So that's on that reparations thing. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? It's
Well, here's what I would say. Yeah, what we're speaking is when we talk about like the language that we're speaking is modern English, right? And yeah, sure, we're speaking modern English because we were enslaved and colonized, et cetera, or we were just born into this country. Or like in the term African American didn't actually come from the enslavers. It actually came from the Africans themselves. They're the ones who call themselves African Americans. But even hold on, wait.
yeah, go ahead.
Because African American was a term that was made up in like the 1700s. The Africans themselves called themselves that. It wasn't the Europeans. But when we talk about reparations, even if we were to go by what you're saying, just because that identity was given to you by somebody else does not mean that the damage that was done to you all of a sudden goes away. Reparations for African Americans simply means that the damage that was done by this government, this society to African Americans should be repaired. Even if that identity was given to them by somebody else, that damage is still there. So saying you got your identity from someone else, even if we were to agree with that, that wouldn't change the point about reparations at all.
No, this is what I'm saying. It would change because it's like basically like, okay, if you feel like you're being oppressed, or you feel like that you feel like you're owed something, right? What's going on is a lot of people. What's going on is a lot of people, they feel like they're owed something, owed to you, if you don't know what's owed to you. Like, so I heard people say land this and all this, whatnot, but it's like you're not even competent to grow your own food, make your own electricity, create your own phones, create your own automobiles. You're dependent on the government, but then you want reparations. How can you want reparations when you're not even intellectually on a level high enough to escape the prison they put you in mentally? This is what I'm saying. Like, you
All
can't
right.
get reparations.
All right. Let me respond to that. Irrelevant. All that is irrelevant. Even if number one, black people, especially African Americans, are intelligent enough to do that, because we recognize this entire system, so they are intelligent. We are intelligent enough to do that. But secondly, even if we were to accept your premise that African Americans weren't intelligent enough to understand it, that will still not undo the damage that was done, and that will still not delete the repair that needs to be done to African Americans. And number three, we do know what's owed. This has been calculated already. We said from slavery to black codes to Jim Crow, to all the systemic racism that we have in this country. Black people, African Americans, especially in this country, are probably missing around 50 to 60 trillion dollars. So we do know what's
Okay,
owed.
so okay, you saying money wise. So you saying we're owed money, financial gain, right?
Yeah, finances and an equal society.
Legal society. Okay. And I'm not even gonna deflect that. You know what I'm saying? I'm just gonna agree with you, you know what I'm saying, or we're not even on that. But
All right, y'all. My goal has been reset, y'all. My goal's been reset. Y'all can go ahead and gift me up if you like. Go ahead, Mr. God. Go ahead. What you were saying?
all right, so it's like, you know, this money thing, even with that again. So it's like, if how can somebody be owed money if you and your people wasn't the ones that created the monetized system, the Federal Reserve Bank? Like, that's not
Irrelevant.
what I'm saying is, you're saying it's irrelevant, right? But it's like, how can you be like, you owe me something, right? But this tool that they're using is what's keeping us in this state of oppression, this state of being beneath, or keeping superior to another people. And let me elaborate. What I'm saying is, right, the reason they oppress us because we buy into the poisons, whether it be tobacco, whether it be liquor, whether it be, rap music, like Kanye West. He tells you who runs the industry as far as the religious leaders who hide behind um, our art, but they use our art to pump genocide, to keep us at a vibration, to kill, unalive, black on black crime, right? So what I'm saying is, if they are designing the game, and it's like, you're saying it's so relevant that we need to know this type of thing, but it's like, because it don't make, I'm not trying
All
to
right, so
confuse
you're
nothing,
saying,
brother.
so you're saying that because we subscribe to capitalism, and capitalism is what keeps us oppressed, therefore they don't owe us reparations.
Exactly. So
All
it's
right, so
like,
we
how
need
can
to
we get a
escape. We
reparation?
need to escape the system of capitalism, right?
Exactly.
I, I
We need to
actually,
escape.
I actually do agree with you that we need to escape the system of capitalism and move on to something else. But in order for us to move on to something else, that repair still needs to be had. So even if we
Okay,
move
okay,
towards
right there.
socialism, they still need to pay us what they owe.
Okay, right there, bingo, right? So this is why I said. So it comes back to the word woke, right? To me, woke means awareness, meaning you have your conscience, you're competent enough to know what's going on. Like for instance, I've been programmed to just eat 3 times a day. I'm not even looking at the ingredients, the label. I just eat it. If it look good, tastes good, I'm eating it, right? But this is what's going on. I haven't been laced or taught to be aware, woke on what I'm putting in my mouth. You know what I'm saying? So this is, like I said, this is how they win. This is how they stay. I mean, the rich stays rich and the wealthy stays wealthy, because we have sleepwalkers. Our people are sleepwalkers. They claim to be woke, but it sounds like a whole bunch of emotional damage, which is um um which what I'm saying, which I'm not saying is wrong. Like, you have every right to be emotionally damaged for what, our history and what we've been through. But it comes to a point where you have to set your emotions to the side and actually sit there and be like, here, let me use my brain to understand, to get an awareness, to be conscious enough to know how to escape. There
All
may
right, Mr. God, I'm sorry. I'm gonna need you to kind of clarify and land your plane because I'm not sure where you're going with what you're saying.
All right. So okay, I'm going ahead. So what I'm saying, in order to escape a systematic, like a racism, um, a
Appreciate the
systematic
gift, board.
racism thing, so I'm trying to stay up on your board thing, to escape this racism, this division
Appreciate it.
that's been projected on a people, right? I feel like we have to sit down and actually come to an awareness to what, how things came about. You know what I'm saying? Like, if we don't know how things came about, we're never going to be able to break these chains. You know what I'm saying? This mental prison. That's just what it is. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm gonna say this, I'm gonna lay my plane. Like, our people, they call themselves Americans, right? Americans is an Italian explorer who came. Like, America is named after an Italian explorer, a YT man, a settler who gave you your identification. So it's like, how can you beat a people and
All right. Yeah, he was dropped because I think my mod was tired of hearing him. W Jonesy, I appreciate that. Y'all, give me 1 second because someone just came up on my YouTube queue. I want to see if the person hears me. Let's see. Give me 1 second, y'all. All right. Enoch B, are you there? All right. Well, I don't hear Enoch B. I'm gonna go ahead and disconnect him. Not a problem, y'all. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and keep this trucking. I appreciate not dropping people for yapping. No monologuing up here, y'all. Right, we don't do a whole bunch of yapping, so I understand you. All right, y'all. We're at 15.9K likes, 50 people in here. I appreciate everyone who was in here. I appreciate all the likes. I appreciate all the shares. Remember to go ahead and gift me up. I do have a gift goal, and I do have a subscription goal. I appreciate y'all. It's only $2.99 to be a subscriber. I appreciate everyone who's in here. All right, we're gonna move on to EBJ. Abba, I think you're a friendly of mine, right?
Yes.
All right, cool, not a problem. All right, EBJ, you already said you're over 18 and you disagree with something I had on the board. Go ahead and talk to me. What did you disagree with? EBJ, you there?
EBJ's not gonna speak, I want to retort everything that God Body or whatever his name was just said, because like you know the irony of everything that they're complaining about on your list. These are things that they want for themselves, and they would not want anybody to violate against them. That is the most hypocritical and ironic part of all of this. It's like they agree to be inhumane as long as the inhumanity isn't directed at them. And it's like, how do you get mad at people who say, hey, I don't want to be inhumane at all. I want to coexist. I want to live next door. I want you to stay out my bedroom. I want you to, like, I want to be at peace with you, even if I don't look like you, live like you, eat like you, blah, blah, blah. These people are so psychologically remedial in their assessment of other people that they are constantly jealous of how somebody else lives, walks, talks. Like, the majority of everything that's wrong with these people is just self-hate.
Essentially.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
All right, EBJ, we can hear you now. You said that you were over 18 and you disagree with something I had on the board. What did you want to talk about?
Correct. Just one thing. So just
Sure.
one thing. I actually agree with everything else that you have here. So it might be a boundary issue that I've had. So I kind of want your feedback on it. The
Sure.
being woke is good for everyone. I struggle with that personally because I agree with everything else that you're going for here. But I just personally believe that allowing room for learning, mistakes, and growth when it comes to that process for getting people on board helps me. Starting out with good, I feel like it sets a expectation, and not everyone's coming from the same place when they're learning about what we're taught and what to do with it. So I just wanted to know how you approach that and how you came to that conclusion. Not because I, think it's bad, but out of my experience, I have a hard time agreeing with that one.
Vol, can I ask her one question real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
What is your definition of woke?
Woke would be awake. So I feel like we're fed by force a lot of propaganda when it comes to race, when it comes to gender, when it comes to a lot of our identities and how we interact. I think being woke is about disassociating from that propaganda and just reassociating with ourselves and how we're talking to each other.
So you've taken on the misconception of what, because woke really came out when they say awake, they mean pay attention to your human rights. Because the true definition and the defining moment of being woke was Reconstruction and Jim Crow humans in America telling other people, wake up. You can't sit up here and say these Christians.
You got it.
Stop. These Christians who claim to be Christians will sit up in church, claim that they're followers of Christ, and then walk right out of that church and put somebody in a tree. Or these people who claim they care about the Constitution and all men are created equal will sit up here and mistreat a woman, will tie a mill iron around a child's neck and throw them in a lake. Like, that's the whole problem. Y'all aren't being actually factual about what it is. Like I was just saying before you got pulled back up, the irony in a lot of this is the fact that the same list that y'all complain about, you would not want anybody to do this against you. And that's the hypocrisy.
Correct.
We sit up here
Correct.
right now, you're watching a nation literally be split in half by a man who would not want anyone to treat him the way he's treating everybody else.
You got it.
Absolutely correct.
You got it. And that's what I meant by I'm so sorry. That is what I was trying to get at when I said, like, I think it's about disassociating from the propaganda
not,
that we're
It's
so
more,
when I
it's
say
more about awareness of racial and social injustice. When you talk about
injustice, yeah.
when you talk about the propaganda, you mean the propaganda of them spreading that there is no misjustice and is that,
correct. Yeah.
okay, gotcha.
Absolutely.
Now I get it.
You
Okay,
got
I
it.
got you.
But
Yeah.
that's when you, like, anybody that you have an issue with from here on out, I want you to do one. Like, it's funny, kind of like what y'all were talking about earlier. You have nationalities, ethnicity, da-da-da-da. Everybody comes up with these dividing lines. It's only one thing that matters on this planet. Are you a human? And do you treat other humans the way you want to be treated? Because if you're not, you're inhumane. And if you're inhumane, you cannot complain about someone treating you the way that you mistreat other people. That's the irony in all of it. You cannot claim I am a supremacist, but you can't treat me supremely the same way I treat other people supremely. That's the problem. You can't say, hey, I can commit sins, I can mistreat people, I can beat my wife, but nobody can do that to me. That's the problem. Treat you and lie to your face, but you can't do that to me.
Yeah, exactly.
I get
just,
it.
Just like how just like how Reed said in the comments, it's basically gaslighting. You know what I mean? That's basically all it is. But yeah, I do see where you're coming from, EBJ. But yeah, that's if you take you know, waking up from the propaganda, meaning, you know, anti-blackness, racism, white supremacy, wake up from
Yes.
that propaganda. Yeah. Anti-LGBTQ, all that good stuff. Wake up from that propaganda. Then yeah, I would agree with that. You know what I mean? Because that's essentially what was going on when the term woke was created. To be like, hey, yo, there's a lot of racial injustice going on, and they're trying to gaslight us to tell us that there's not any racial injustice. You know what I
Right.
mean?
But
So
Vo,
be
that
awake.
was the thing.
And the way
It was more than racial. Like, think about it.
It was more,
They
yeah,
were,
you're right.
They were like, that's why
course.
it's not racial, it's human rights. Because at the same time, all this was
human
going
rights.
on, and they're trying to exacerbate division. The people who were saying, wake up, were like, yeah, you may be white, but to another supremacist, you're white trash. You don't matter. They will let you die in the street because you're not rich. You're not one of them. You're excluded from this supreme group, even though you may think you're attached because of your closeness to whiteness. And that's the fallacy in all of it. These people said, think about all these people who voted for Trump who are now crying, oh, I lost my job. You voted for that.
Right.
Oh,
And Abba, I
can't
wanted to
get
kind of
yada yada.
piggyback.
I'm losing my benefits. You voted for that. You didn't read the fine line. You didn't pay attention to the woke crowd who was telling you this was what was going to happen.
Inhumane at all. I want to. And that's the thing, is I would love to piggyback off of that, because, you know, if these
I don't know if anybody
people
can
that
hear
were
me, but
really
I ain't
into
got
the
no sound.
supremacy were so confident about who they were, they wouldn't be trying to get work done to try and look even more so white. Like, I really think that it's like a competition to be as you know, as white as possible for some of them, and like that's why if they are completely white, blonde hair, blue eyes, but they have like
Yeah,
a nose that
you-
isn't as white looking, they'll fix it.
you're-
Like,
yeah,
I
but
think that you're totally right. I think you're 100% right. My only thing though, because again, I agree with everything but the very last one. When you say that being woke is good for everyone, my I think, and this might be a philosophical thing that we disagree on, but I don't think it's actually good for everyone, because I don't think that we're actually coming at it from the same perspective. I think for
you,
some people, they have to settle for doing some work.
yeah,
And I
but
think that when I'm trying to talk to people, I need to be able to trust that they're willing to do that. So to try and tell them, hey, this is going to be great for you. You're going to be going from having all this power to actually just having a bunch of people instead. They might have just been sold their whole life with all this propaganda that having power is better than having people around them. And that's the lie that I'm trying to get them out of. So when I say, oh, this is going to be good for you, it's not going to feel good, is it?
yes, it
Is it?
will. It will, and that's what
I know eventually. I
no,
trust
not
it
even
will,
it,
but
and
how do I tell them that?
the problem. Okay, kind of like your assessment and your analogy. Your analogy was skewed. You're talking about physical. You were like, you know, they'll try to get work done, bleach their hair and physical features. That's not the point. The point is, as a human being, you cannot say, I have the right to mistreat somebody else, and they don't have the right to defend themselves. That's the
Correct.
brokenness. And what a lot of these
Correct.
people do is they buy into a fallacy that I'm associated with quote unquote supremacy, so nobody can retort, respond, refute. Right? They buy it's not the truth. You
You
cannot
got it.
say, I can walk up to you and slap you in your face. Who does
Right.
that?
Not
a lot of
logically,
these
at
people,
least.
a
They
lot of
know.
these,
I feel like they know it's not logical.
I know, but that's that's what I'm saying. A lot of what these people think and do is so illogical. They lie to
I don't want
themselves
to be
and they
inhumane
will
at
lie to
all.
your
I want to
face and expect you to accept it. And
Right.
All right,
that's
y'all. Can y'all give me 1 second? Give me 1 second, y'all, because there's someone on my YouTube stream. Y'all might not be able to hear him. Give me 1 second, all right? Yo, Indy, are you there? Go ahead and say something. I don't think he's gonna be able to hear me yet.
you better not come in here with no bogusness because I will eat them alive.
Yeah, I know. Y'all might not be able to hear him because this part of my stream is just not set up like that yet. Any Key B, are you there? Say something so I can make sure I can hear you or not. He's not
Okay,
saying
while,
anything yet.
while I was about to say, while we're waiting for him, I just want to ask people: do they notice like the discrepancy in supremacy, where it's like, if you're supreme, I shouldn't have to cheat to be like. When has Michael Jordan ever had somebody say, "Hey, we're gonna tie your laces together so we can play"? That is not supremacy. Supremacy is
Right.
we go face to face, equal footing. If you got both hands free, I got both hands free. That is not how America, or let me rephrase that, because that's the problem too. These people who are claiming that they're American patriots are flying two flags that America defeated. So these aren't even Americans. These are people who are
Yeah, they're
literally
traitors.
anti-American.
Right.
So it's
You got it.
funny to hear them complain about, oh, the State of the Union and women can talk back and men that don't look like me can tell me to shove it up my, because you're not supreme. If you're supreme, you don't need laws to tell somebody I can't punch you in your face if you swing on me. If you're supreme, you don't need a county of sheriffs and policemen to tell you I can beat my wife, but she can't complain to anybody. Like a lot of this just, and that's what I'm saying. You hear these people talk about make America great again. When? Because everything that they talk about, it wasn't even great for the people who consider themselves great because they were terrified of everybody else. I'm scared of my wife. I'm scared of my field hands. I'm scared of the people I'm enslaving. I'm scared of the continent that we're taking over. I'm scared of the people we're colonizing. You sound like a bunch of cowards. And now that the people that you were cowering from are telling you, you can live next door, you just can't mistreat anybody, they're mad.
Right. I mean, that's the thing is that they are so upset because, at the end of the day, they want to be able to get away with stuff. They want that special privilege to just be able to do what they want. And I think it's disgusting. But when I look at being woke is good for everyone, I also think about people that were just fed this information. Like I think
That's
about,
You're misinterpreting what woke means, and that's what
and
we
I
keep
think
trying to tell you.
right, and that's the thing is like it might be an issue with my personal boundaries. Like I really think that this is going
No,
to be
it's not
helpful,
personal
but
boundary.
like
It's your interpretation or the misinformation surrounding woke. People who are like, think about it. On the right, when they hear woke, they hear.
they use it sarcastically.
I
They
know,
don't
but
take it
it's.
serious. They're stupid.
I know, but it's not. It's not a no because that's just some of them. Some of them, when they hear it, they think Barack Obama is going to kick in my front door, take my wife, and sell my kids. And it's like nobody in history has done that other than you. So
Right.
a lot of it's
Right.
like they have this projection of the sins that I've committed will be committed against me when everybody else is like, we don't want to sin. We want you to stop and let everybody live in peace.
Right.
Yes.
Exactly. Hold on, y'all. I think I got
Absolutely.
one more guest. Oh, that's Jonesy. All right, y'all. I got my mod coming up. Jonesy, what's good?
Hey everyone. Nothing much. I just wanted to talk to EVGB for a second.
All right, sure.
I'm kind of confused on what you're missing. Like, what is it about being woke that what is it about it that you're in disagreement with? I've heard you try to reiterate it about 2 or 3 times, but I'm still kind of confused on what you're getting at.
Right, and I think that that might be, Jonesy, a big part of that might be is because I'm a little confused too. But what where I'm at right now is that reading being woke is good for everyone. It's a bit difficult for me because I want to be able to take away something from this that I can kind of carry on, and I agree with everything else on here. But when I think to myself, it's good for everyone, it's hard because I try to approach everything intersectional, and I
Hmm.
think everyone approaches this situation a bit differently. Like I've experienced it growing up, but then not everyone has. So I kind of always ask myself, how do I communicate this, and
So
how can I have
what do you
empathy?
think what do you think that woke means? Because I'm still just a little confused. What do
Yeah.
you think that woke means?
Well, I think it came from the word awake. I think it came from the word awake because for a really long part of our history, um, people of color and the disenfranchised folks among us were just sort of like told to cope, and we were told to be asleep. So I think a big part of it comes from just like disassociating from those lies. But
We
I do think
Um,
that they affected people
Excuse,
differently.
I'm sorry to cut you off. Can I are
Go
are
on.
you a person of color?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
so
So
hold on.
okay, because and forgive me, right? Because I thought you might be a white tea woman, right? So I'm like, okay, maybe you don't understand woke because it's a dog whistle and it's not meant for you.
Exactly.
But but you're
Well,
a
when I
person
was
of
raised,
color.
it didn't used to be. When I was raised, like growing up, like I because
Yeah,
I was raised by
it
yeah.
wasn't. So do you know where the term dog whistle comes from?
So I know roughly where it comes from, but like I don't know exactly. Like I do know it comes from like our
Jones,
past over here, but
Jonesy,
Yes.
give me 1 second because what you're about to do is going to make it more difficult for her to follow it because a lot of the like think about it. What she's saying is she's misinterpreting woke as a synonym of awake when woke was human rights. That's all. Anytime you hear somebody say woke, replace it with human rights and then listen to their argument. That's all it is.
Pretty much.
The
right.
thing, but
That's what I love it.
what I'm trying to get at,
And
I'm trying to
I do
No,
figure out.
Jonesy,
apologize,
Jonesy,
Jonesy. While
Jones.
No,
hey,
no,
Jonesy,
I'm not
while you
frustrated or
get
anything.
started, I just wanted to say, I don't want you guys to second guess me because I am
Of
having
course
an
not.
issue with this whole
No,
good for
baby.
everyone. I really do want to process as much as I can because I'm asking this question to you guys so I can carry it forward. I'm not trying to target
We know
just
that's
be a
that's
problem.
why we're here discussing it with you because like the
Yeah, you're
problem
at least trying to get it, so we can be
exactly
here.
the problem isn't the miseducation of the Negro anymore. It's the miseducation of humanity. We live in think about it. We're in a world now where we are watching the quote unquote president of the United States tell everybody else lies, blatant lies. Like
Absolutely.
Ukraine invaded Russia, really? Even though or January 6th didn't happen. We all saw this. So, like, that's what I'm
Right.
saying. We are witnessing people tell you, hey, woke, affirmative action, caring about all these things that really group under human rights. That's wrong. If you support human rights, you're anti-white man. No, we're not. We're
Okay,
pro
Exactly. You got
everybody.
it. But I
so give
think
me one
Jonesy was
second.
gonna continue. Yeah.
Yeah, so um basically, during the time of Richard Nixon, there was something going on called the Southern Strategy. And that pretty much was
What Trump and them
the
ran on.
excuse me 1 second. It's the Southern Strategy is basically the white supremacy method of trying to basically make this back into the Confederacy, right?
Amen.
But they realized that at the time of Nixon, they couldn't just openly say the N hard ER anymore. Like that wasn't going to fly because people were becoming more socially aware. People were becoming, I would say, gaining more empathy for Black Americans and finally seeing us as humans like we are, right?
Hmm.
So Nixon and this Southern strategy, he started using what we call dog whistles, which is just coded racist remarks, right? So,
Right.
saying stuff like law and order, right? Or
Tough on crime,
yeah, tough on crime,
the war on
or
drugs, states' rights,
welfare
Yes.
queen, that
Yeah.
welfare queen.
Black on
That's a
black crime.
black on
black
black
on
crime.
black crime. Those are things that it's not, you know, just superficially, right? Looking at those words, if we were to write them down, they look harmless. And
Mhm.
to someone who is not subject to this dog whistle, right? Because we know how dog whistles work. When you blow a dog whistle, only the dog can hear it. No one else can hear it. So when you say these words, you know that these certain words are targeted at certain groups. It even happens to people who are not black. For Latinos, I don't know if you, or Hispanic people, I don't know if you remember, it was, they are grapists and murderers.
Mhm.
They are the deplorables. They, things like that. So that's what a dog whistle is. So when someone
Can I just add
is
one more thing, Jonesy?
Mhm.
For Hispanics, the dog whistle for them was changing demographics and economic anxiety. That was a dog whistle, meaning them,
Mm.
meaning they don't want more Latinos coming in. But continue, Josie. Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, and also anything referencing illegal immigration
Illegal
is
immigration. That was
is,
another one.
is referencing them.
Yeah.
Especially at this time. When I was younger, illegal immigration was directed at Haitian people, and also the dog whistle for Haitian people. And I don't mean to offend anybody. Was HIV epidemic. That was the dog whistle for Haitian people in the early 2000s. So there's coded language
Yeah.
for each group to be targeted, right? But I
Yeah.
can't tell you many dog whistles for YT people. I can't, like that.
Okay.
That's just not a thing. So when someone says to be
Mayonnaise?
woke, but calling them that, right, doesn't. But me calling them, it's funny, but me calling them mayonnaise, right, is not going to systemically oppress them the
I
same
know.
Right,
way
right, right.
I
me
Exactly.
know.
saying law and
It,
order
Right,
would,
because
right?
we
I
don't
was being
have the
facetious.
advantage of
Yeah, I
subtlety with
know.
where we're at right now. Like
Right.
it's almost like they have the power of the
Militarism.
the right, the militarism. Like they put the system in place where they can actually use that subtlety, and we have to use very poignant, very concise language. So we just don't have the privilege of using dog whistles. I
But
totally get that. But and
Yeah.
I don't
So
want to make it seem like I see woke as like
A bad
something
thing, a
that's
negative.
bad. But I think what it is that I see it as something where when I'm talking to different demographics, I talk about it differently because I feel differently.
so
And
like
like, I don't know
it
how
triggers the
normal that
racist.
is.
So
Like,
let me
I guess
clarify.
what
Do
it
you mean, because
is,
I know you mentioned intersectionality. Are you just saying that you are empathetic to every group's social issues that they go through? Is that what you're trying to say?
but what I'm saying is I grew up on an intersection, like if that makes sense. Like I grew up
Mm-hmm.
like multicultural. So I actually like with no choice made, I actually do have to interact with conservatives on a regular basis.
Yep.
And sometimes it feels horrible, but then I really look for these like ways where I can not feel that way. So I agree with everything on here about the woke thing because I feel this personal pressure to I guess pander to them
Yeah.
or I don't know if it's like to perform
But
for them or
pander
just
to
to
who?
soften the
Wait,
blow of just
wait,
accountability.
pander.
So,
Wait.
she had
Pander
said
to
that
who?
she kind of for woke she has to kind of say it differently to different groups of people.
But you shouldn't because human rights are human rights, and that's I want to
Exactly, I
say.
do agree with right there, Alva.
And
It's just like you can't really sugarcoat it to someone else. It has to be this is the concrete way. This is what it means to be having your
exactly.
rights, being a person, having humanity.
But I feel where she's like the thing about what Jonesy and Vol were saying to her. The irony is, and think about it. She said pandering, but I think it's more like kind of like what he said. She's trying to be empathetic to people who lack empathy,
But
which
I
is
hold on. But you guys, I really need her to answer this question. Pandering to who?
inhumane people.
Um, inhumane
Can you
like
please let
so
her
I don't
answer?
know if it's inhumane people, but I guess I might have, and please forgive me if I'm like giving too much credit where credit isn't due. But I was raised by a man that who was black, and I was raised by a woman who was white, and I was raised in the military, so I had all these conservatives around me 100% of the time. And there's just this sort of pressure to give them something that they could use, like not use, but like they want to learn something from me, and I want to make sure that they're like not going to treat the next person that they meet the way that I am, like in a negative way.
Oh,
But at the
girl,
same
no, let me tell you
time,
something. That is not your responsibility to take
Amen.
on emotional labor for
Mhm.
someone else who doesn't know. If you want to educate them, you can educate
it's so
them. If they want to take
stressful.
in the information, they can take in the information. If they don't, don't. It's not your job to sit
Definitely
up
not.
and handhold anybody at all. But that's definitely not what that means.
Yeah,
Being woke,
because I'm sorry.
I'm
I'm
sorry,
sorry.
not
Yeah, I'm
to
sorry to
cut you
interrupt
off.
you, Jonesy.
Yeah,
I'm going.
go
Go
ahead.
ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, no. So really
You
quickly,
keep
and I'll
going.
let you go. Right, EVGB. I'll make it like a very plain and clear example. Right. Do you live in like a city,
Suburb.
a suburb? But do in your
Yeah.
suburb is it I would say like at least a median amount of people where you have like a decent amount of like malls and like stores, strip malls, things of
Yeah.
that nature.
Yeah. Yeah.
So in your city, right, or in your suburb, how many of the stores have a wheelchair ramp?
Thank you.
Yeah, that's a great
Right?
point. That is a
Right?
great point.
So because you don't go, because you don't have to use a wheelchair, right? I'm sorry, I'm
That's a
assuming
great
you
point.
may. I apologize if you do, right? You may not have to use a wheelchair ramp for anything, right? So you don't take notice of how many wheelchair ramps there are in your city. But if I was somebody who was disabled and I needed that service, I would be able to see where the inequalities are. Whereas someone like you who is not, you get what I'm saying? You have the privilege to not see that. And I'm going to
Right.
also ask you this. You don't have to answer it or not, but would you be considered YT passing?
So it depends on how I do my hair. Like I just specifically will do my
Just
hair
say
so I'm
yeah,
not.
baby.
I will.
Just say yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
The thing
I mean,
is
no, don't
I'm.
force her into a box. That's not cool.
I
It's
got you.
I have some features that are not, and then people will tell me like, oh, you look this way or that way, but at the end of the day, like it's like
You're a bit
you know
ambiguous. You're a bit
I guess, and
ambiguous.
I always
People,
say that.
yeah, people
Like
wouldn't really know. Yeah,
I'm racially
ambiguous.
ambiguous, and it's a privilege in my opinion because and it's a privilege in a way that I tell white tea people that they don't have when I'm talking to them about the privilege that I have as a person that's ambiguous because I don't have to worry. Like I kind of I have this sort of this camaraderie with Latino people and like Muslim people as well, just being racially ambiguous because of that question mark that
Gotcha.
comes with the way I look. And I feel guilty for having that privilege. At the same time, I feel this pressure to
You
perform and
should.
make sure that it's used well. And I think it's good. I think it's really, really, really good that I wanted to do well with it. But at the end of the day, like I just think that when I talk about just doing the right thing.
Yeah.
I
Can I
really
say
think
this?
that like really privileged. Oh yes,
Yeah, I just wanted to say something real quick, EVG. Like, because you seem like a very well meaning, like well intentioned person, right? And you want to. I think I understand what you meant by you have to use woke differently. Because black people understand that. Like we code switch a lot. The way I'm gonna be talking to Jonesy and Abba and Jose, like if we had a barbecue or something, it's not the way I'm gonna talk at work when it's around the
right,
people. You feel me? So I get that you have to
right,
code switch sometimes, and the way that they understand woke, you have to kind of enter it that way in order to inform them to all right, I know you guys are using woke this way, but I understand that, but this is what it actually means when these people are saying it. You kind of have to explain it that way because they don't understand it yet. You know what I mean? So, but one
yeah,
thing I would say that's I do get that strategy because I've used that strategy before as well. When people don't understand something like feminism, like I've spoken to a lot of red pill dudes who don't know what feminism is, and I had to approach it where I'll be like, okay, y'all, I understand that this is what you think feminism is, But when I talk to feminists, this is what they're saying. You know what I mean? So it's
Right.
like I have to approach it that way, in a backdoor way. So I get what you're saying. You know what I mean? And it is a good strategy. One thing I would say is that you said in a well way. I get what you mean, but never feel you have to perform because you're human. You know what I mean? And I think
Thank
one of the
you.
big things that messes with our minds as humans is the need to perform. Like as men, I'm sorry, give me a second.
Like how you performing
Sorry.
right now.
Yeah. As men, like we a lot of us are pressured to perform masculinity. And what does that lead to? That leads to like things like toxic masculinity because we think we have to
Yes.
perform that way. You see what I'm saying? So don't feel pressured to perform. Cause I do understand where it comes from, but don't feel pressured to perform. You're still human. You know what I mean? You're going to make mistakes. There's gonna be things that you're gonna be wrong about. You feel me? But you're learning. You're growing. You know what woke means, but you have to use this strategy because you're around people who don't know what it means. So I get it.
Also,
Thank you so much.
conforming and, being performative, it might feel like it is, I understand using it, to your privilege, like you said. You get what I'm saying? In a job site or whatever. I'm never going to tell somebody how to get their coin, right?
Mhm.
But on a social level, right, or on a personal level, the performative stuff is is a bit
Undermining.
anti-black. It's
Yeah.
anti-black, right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially as someone who admits they look ambiguous, because it's another dog whistle that gets to be used, and I'm sure you've heard it, like one of the good ones, or
Yep.
you don't act like
Right.
them.
I don't want them to ever
And
think they
there
won
right,
anything.
and there's no act like anything. Those are all stereotypes, right? So it's like when people do performative things, it it has negative impacts for other people, because even, myself and other people, I've been told things like, you talk like a white person.
Mhm.
What does a white person talk
Talk
like?
like,
I
yeah.
talk like a person who reads books. I read books for a living. So I
Right.
mean, there's no race, there's no gender, there's no sexuality behind education. You get what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
Right.
So it's like when you do performative stuff, especially as someone who is more white passing or ambiguous looking, especially
Mm-hmm.
it's detrimental to other black and brown people, and especially darker skinned people as myself. You get what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And that's where colorism comes in, because
Mhm.
and that's a totally different conversation we won't get into. If you would ever want to talk about colorism, you can feel free to come back, or you can DM me. We could talk about that if that's something that
Yeah,
you
I
want to
just
talk
followed
about.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's a multifaceted issue. But I just want to reiterate that you're not responsible to explain anything to anybody. You're
Mhm.
not responsible for that. If they don't want to understand, like, you can give them as plain as a definite. If I were you, I would come up with my key definition of what woke is and stick to that. When someone
Right.
asks you what it is, that's your definition. Don't move on it. And if they don't want to get it and they're trying to move you to somewhere else, they want to argue about it, just change the conversation, or you get what I'm saying, move away from that, because
Mhm.
it's a conversation that you're not going to win. Because when someone
Mm-hmm.
has their mindset that something is bad, and they're not really in the place to learn about it, like you were today, like you openly came up and said, I disagree with this, but I'm ready to learn. If they're not
Mm-hmm.
coming like that, it's don't waste your energy, because like hatred feeds on energy, and you don't need to give your energy to anything like that.
Exactly. Yeah. Can I pause real quick, everybody? Because I do want Jose to get a chance to speak because he hasn't got a chance yet. Iniki B was in my YouTube comments. He just came over to TikTok to have a discussion with me. I definitely appreciate y'all. Jones had to drop for some reason. I definitely appreciate y'all, but Jose, I want you to go ahead and say something because you didn't get a chance yet. Go ahead, Jose.
I mean, I don't really have much to say. I think I agree with all that you have up there.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to talk about the point of being like of woke, and why I say that it is good for everyone. But I think you can already make that point yourself. You have it checked off.
Gotcha.
Uh, the only thing I would say from what I see up there, I feel like reparations. I need a better definition for what that is supposed to be today.
Okay. Yeah, I
Restitution.
got you.
It's restitution. It's just repayment for the inhumanities, injustice, land theft, and property and wealth stuff that occurred that can all literally be tracked back. Like there are literally legal, governmental, and business documents that tell you it's somewhere around 50 to 60 trillion dollars that are owed to the descendants of chattel slavery.
Yeah, and I would say just like how I would say, it's restitution, not just monetary compensation, but political and economic autonomy for African Americans that was taken away from them for the past 400 years. Which is why when we talk about reparations, I don't only talk about the monetary aspect of it, but also sorry, go ahead.
It's not even when they estimate the 50 to 60 trillion. That's just from emancipation forward. Like, think about it. What we're talking about, everybody talks about MLK being pew-pewed for he wasn't pew-pewed for civil rights. He was pew-pewed 2 days after he gave the speech talking about how poor white people were being exploited, about how chattel slavery descendants were robbed of land, because what he was addressing was the fact that from emancipation till now, freed slaves lost like 10 million acres of land, and poor whites lost like 30 million. And it's like, that's kind of like the whole problem with this woke argument, where it's like, we are telling poor white people, we're on your side. We don't want to watch you starve either. But they're like, Donald Trump's telling me he's going to piss on me and call it rain. You're a fool.
Yeah.
So like the whole issue with a lot of this is literally semantics, miseducation, poorly educated, and a failure to follow.
I want
the
to say
facts.
something on what Chris just said in the comments.
Hold on, give me a second, and NKB. But that's exactly what I was saying. When we talk about reparations, it's not only just financial restitution for Black people, but the repair and the restitution of systems, such as the criminal justice system, such as the education system, that did affect Black people the most, but it also affected poor whites.
Exactly.
So if we reform the justice system and the education system and our entire economic strata, that would benefit everyone, which is why I said, and I think everybody could agree, being woke is good for everyone. That's exactly what I meant by that, EBJ. Does that make sense, EBJ, to you now?
Absolutely, and I really appreciate you guys, because I think I started out with saying, I don't know if I just have poor personal boundaries or if I just missed something, because I just, out of all of them, that was the only thing in my experience I've been having issues with. But I totally agree, and then when it comes to the reparations, I don't think it's about guilt. I think it's just about responsibility and not wanting our legacy to be built on stolen wealth.
Thank you.
That's what it is.
Appreciate you.
I also want to say thank you, Alban Volchi. I'm going to step down. I just wanted to get you where the definition was for reparations. And that helped me out. So
Hey,
thank you.
EB, do me a favor. Follow me, because every time I
Appreciate
try to
you,
follow
Jose.
you, it won't take it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. So Abba and EB, I'm gonna drop you guys down for a little bit. I'll definitely bring you guys back up if you guys want to stay in the chat, so we
They
can go
can
ahead and still continue. I just like to go one-on-one for a while. Okay. So matter of fact, EB, I'm gonna bring you back up in a bit. Abba, stay with me for a little bit. And I got Sahel Knight. All right, Sahel Knight. This is gonna be part 6 for us, because Jesus Christ, we argue all the time. All right, not a problem. This is gonna be part 6 for us. But Iniki B, I know that you wanted to have a discussion. Do you disagree with anything I have on the board, Iniki?
So can everybody hear me just fine?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, so I would like to start though. It doesn't bug me too much, but it's pronounced Inkibi.
Inky, there we go. I'm sorry, I couldn't. I didn't see it. I
No
saw an
worries.
extra I for some reason. My bad. But go ahead.
So I would like to start though with Chris said in the comments that prison is modern day slavery. I would like to point everybody to the 13th Amendment, which is what Abraham Lincoln put into play when he freed the slaves, correct?
That's correct.
If you read it, it actually states that slavery wasn't necessarily abolished. It was
punishment for a crime.
changed from it was changed from one term to another. So it is correct when you say prison is modern day slavery. That's correct. I can agree with that. But without a prison system, how can you hold people accountable for doing harm to others?
Oh,
While it's not perfected, it is close to what we need, correct?
No, it's not. Because if you think about you have to look at it from a reflective standpoint of human history. Originally, quote unquote, slavery was you paying off your debt to the person you wronged. So you had to go live on their land, do what they told you, and be an accommodating human to them. So if you stole 80 cattle from me, now you got to come work for me until I get them 80 cattle back, or I feel like you've done enough work to work off your debt. That's the difference between what the original concept of slavery, indentured servitude, was versus what it eventually evolved into, where it was like you're a prisoner of war. We come in with a different culture. We're in conflict. You're enslaved until you mentally conform to what we're telling you need to be.
Well,
And
prisoner of war is
here's
different than our
hold,
prison
Inky,
system at home.
hold on,
No,
Inky,
it's
Inky.
not.
Wait, hold on.
If
Everybody
you
pause. Everybody
You
pause.
run
Everybody
under
pause.
the Geneva Convention,
Everybody
though.
pause. Everybody pause. Everybody pause. Everybody pause. Listen. All right. So the modern system of prisons that we have today is not close to what we need. What we need now is rehabilitation. And I
Exactly.
didn't say get rid of prisons. I said get rid of the prison industry, meaning that the industry around putting
Right.
people in jail for profit. We need to get rid of that. So if
I
we
was
can still
curious about your take on that.
right, so we can
I'm
still
sorry.
have jail, we can still have prisons, but the prisons would be more towards gaining them rehabilitation in order to make people better citizens, like what they have in the Scandinavian countries. You see what I mean? Like it gets them to be better humans and not just enslave them for profit for the state.
Right, but how do you rehabilitate somebody like Hannibal, for
You
Um,
can't.
instance?
no, yeah, you can, because what you do is at the same time that we're reforming the prison systems, you also modernize and reform society in general. You do the things that you're supposed to do to prevent most crime. If you think about it, most crime is literally poverty driven. It's not because people wake up one day and say, hey, I want to go rob a bank or steal baby formula. It's the
Crime
job that
and
I'm
power.
working doesn't pay me enough. The Elon Musk who skips out on taxes isn't contributing to the society that he's now taking advantage of. And they the easiest way.
Before we get off topic, right? I just want to ask, why did you think he was just talking about like abolishing just prison overall? Because I'm only curious because a couple people came in the chat saying like, why should we get rid of prison? We need prisons, but that's not what it says. So I'm just wondering like, how did you get that interpretation?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my interpretation of it is if you do something, why should a group of people pay for you to be around to be a servant? For one, but
I'm sorry, that wasn't my
I don't know if
question.
I don't know if I phrased that right. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah, you're
Go
not.
ahead.
You're
And
not.
ask your question again. Ask your question again so I can register it correctly in my head. 'Cause I don't think I registered it right.
Yeah,
That's
I
why
get
they
what
teach
I
critical
know what
thinking.
I know what you were getting at, but that's not what I was asking. So
Right, right. Yeah, go ahead and re-ask.
I'm one of the mods, right? So, I monitor like the people in the comments to see, if they want to come up and things like that. So when I see people respond to what Volsi has up there, which it says abolish prison industry, I notice a lot of people get in the comments and they say, why would we get rid of prisons? Why would we abolish the prisons? Why would we let prisoners out? And that's not what it says. And it sounded like when you came up, that's also the interpretation that you got. So I was just wondering, how did you get that interpretation from the prompt that is up there? Because that's not what it said.
Right. Yeah, that's why I was asking. I was interested on his point of view on it because I didn't actually understand why he put industry. If it meant like while you're in prison, that like you do work, like when they did the license plates, they made license plates, all that other stuff. While you're in, you work. I thought that might have been what he was talking about, but now I understand sort of what he's talking about. But can you iterate on that a little bit for me, Bosi,
Okay,
or however you pronounce that?
thank you.
Yeah, Volsi's good.
I was just wondering because I'm thinking like maybe we can brainstorm on how to make it more simple.
You
You
mean
get what I'm saying? Just feedback. And also
Yeah.
I wanted to push back at Abba a little bit because he Inky B said that
Mm-hmm.
what about people like Hannibal being, being reformed? And you said everyone can be reformed. I don't agree with that.
No, that's not what I
My
said. What I said was, if we modify the way we mismanage society, a lot of those people wouldn't even form.
Well,
Correct.
that's not what you said. But
That's
thank
No,
you
that's
for
kind of where I
thank
come
you
from
for
with my point,
clarifying.
though.
All right.
Why
So,
would we keep
well,
someone
hold
in
on,
prison that
My
can't be
pause,
reformed?
Everybody pause. Everybody pause. So, what Abba is saying, which is what I also agree with, is that if we reform society, someone like Hannibal is way less likely to exist because a lot of the crimes that we have today are poverty driven. Even things like domestic violence. You know what I mean? So,
Exactly.
I think that's what
Like,
he's getting at.
My pushback to that is sometimes, not all the time, it's a small percentage, but sometimes these things are due to mental health that we
Joe,
do not pay
Yeah, agree.
attention to.
Yes,
Joe, I'm
And
with you.
absolutely,
and I think that
absolutely.
one of the worst things that happened in the 80s, one of the worst thing that Reagan did was close down asylums. Now I
Yeah.
understand why
Yep,
it happened
yep.
because there was a lot of mistreatment. And this is where I'll kind of piggyback. I'm pushing back at you, Abba, but I'll also will piggyback on what you say when you say about reform. I think that we need to bring back public mental hospitals and reform the way that we treat the people there and reform the way that we look at mental health. The same way that I can go to the emergency room, right, and get my leg checked out or my head.
Now,
I shouldn't have to go to a psych ward and be in there for X amount of days. I should be able to go to a public mental hospital and be able to speak to someone at no cost or little cost. I should be able to go see someone to be able to get the medication that I need. And another huge thing, and I'll land my plane, is we need to have support for parents who have children that have behavioral issues, because I see a lot of videos of parents who have children who have issues that they act out violently, and when they reach out to their local social services, there's no one to help them because they don't have laws around it, they don't have the resources for it, they don't have the people to do it, it's expensive. It and you don't want to put these people into to criminal places, so there's no place for them in society, so they either roam the street. And then the poverty is the intersectionality, so these people are also impoverished, they might be doing drugs to alleviate the things that they're going through. And then there's those other layers that you guys were talking about, but
Right.
that was my only pushback, and
no,
that's where I'll land my
No,
Joe,
plane.
I think we 100%. I think even Abba would
exactly.
100% agree. Yeah,
Because
because
Joe,
reforming the entire prison industry would be
not
that too. You know what I
not
mean?
even
Go
just
A
ahead.
the
lot of it
entire
is
prison.
justice
It's like,
system as well.
yeah,
It's not just the prison industry; it's
The
the
justice system
society.
as
justice
well.
system in general.
Yeah,
Just
if we
like how,
reform
so
society,
just
just like how
recently,
Abba said.
everybody is it. So just while it's been for a while now that Trump has been pushing this subject, and while I'm not, a lot of people ain't gonna like to hear this. I am a Trump supporter. I am going through his views, but there are things that I do not agree with as far as his point of views. Like when he said he's calling for mandatory, for people who boom boom police officers, right? I don't know the correct terms. I'm sorry. I don't hit
Nah,
on all
I
this
don't.
stuff
We
very
get what you're
often.
saying.
But so with that being said, it's like, is it going to go both ways, or are you just going to give special rights to them? Like looking at that, it's like, you got me there, Trump, but there needs to be
Here would
equal
be
treatment under law. So if
here
they
would
did it
be
to us, just like George Floyd, for example,
gotcha. Hold
do
on,
they
Inky.
get mandatory?
Hold on, Inky. Here's my question, right? If you would agree that we need to reform our entire justice and healthcare and prison system in order to make it better for society, Trump is actually not for any of those things, and I think he's actually spoken against some of those things, and some of those things he actually wants to make it worse. Why would you support him?
As a Medicaid recipient, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. It's very easily manipulated, and me personally,
he's about to cut your
I
benefits.
listen. I barely had to pay for it. The state that I'm in ended up declaring me medically frail,
How old?
so I no longer have to pay for it.
How old?
I'm 31 years old.
How long
I'm
have you
31
worked?
years old.
How long
Hold
have
on.
you worked?
I've been working since I was 17 years old.
Okay, so you've
But
contributed like
not Not consistently though.
It doesn't
There
matter.
have
You're an
been years that I
American
have been off
citizen,
of it.
and we all pay into that. That's the point.
That's my point though. Is
No, you
I
listen.
still work. I don't pay for it,
That,
but I also don't use it unless
I,
I like
I understand.
absolutely need. Unless I
Nobody should have to
absolutely
pay
need
for
it.
healthcare.
Hold
Nobody
on,
should have to pay for healthcare.
Right.
yeah,
So
I agree, but hold on.
so
Everybody pause real
basically,
quick.
my
Everybody pause
point
real quick.
is you guys and
I
you
got you.
guys here in this chat and in
Hold
the
on,
stream,
Inky,
you
hold on,
guys are
Inky,
paying
Inky,
for
hold
my
on, hold on,
healthcare.
Inky, hold on,
That's
pause.
Is that
cool,
fair?
and we
That's
don't
fine. Hold
mind
on.
that.
Yeah, hold on, Inky, pause me real quick. Pause
That's
me real
not free
quick.
healthcare.
Wait, hold on. Pause me real quick. Listen, pause me real
Yep.
quick.
Sorry.
I've already said universal health care. I agree with that. And Trump doesn't. So you getting Medicaid, I don't care because you're getting the help that you need. I think everyone should get what you get.
You know why, Bo? Because
No,
you support human
that's where we
rights.
disagree. That's what I'm saying. That's where we
So
disagree.
what you're
Okay,
saying
so
is,
Inky, let me hold on. Let me just conversate with him real quick, okay? But I got you. I'm gonna let you get it. So Inky, what you're saying is that you disagree with everyone having the same access to care that you have. Why?
I disagree on people getting free health care
Why?
that are either illegal citizens or people that don't necessarily need it. Like me, I don't necessarily need it, but I don't report it. Is that illegal? No, it's not illegal because I can still use it. I'm still deemed medically frail. But
Okay, but
I personally can be
Mhm.
considered cheating the system, which other people do, which chokes up the system so people who actually do need the care can't get it because the funding's not there.
okay, I got you. But
The
the
system
thing
is
is,
broken. It needs
hold
to be
on.
reformed
Right, the
as
system is
well.
hold on, wait. The system is broken and needs to be reformed. So how come we just don't open up Medicaid to everyone?
If we opened up Medicaid to everyone, we couldn't afford it.
Yeah, we could.
Taxes would be increased, and then you
No,
wouldn't
no,
get
they
tax
not
checks. You would
not
be paying tax.
not necessarily. Not necessarily. Taxes don't have to be increased. Taxes would
every
probably
time you get
hold on,
paid,
hold
the
on. Wait,
taxes
hold
would
on,
be
Inky.
more.
Let me respond. Taxes don't necessarily have to go up for everyone. They can just go up for the top
top 1%.
1%. But not
And
only
see,
that,
that's not equal.
hold on, Inky.
That's
Hold
not
on,
equal
Inky.
treatment.
Hold on, Inky. Even if Texas will go up for everybody, so what? We're all getting the same health care. Not only that, we already have a universal system. We're just not accessing it until we're 65, which is Medicare.
Whoa.
Just
The
not
pro-
why not just open up Medicare to everybody?
no, because
So
if you listen to what
go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm gonna just stop talking for a minute. I'll let you guys talk for a good 5 minutes or so. I'll let some points get out there.
No, it's all good. What I was saying was that if we're just going to go ahead and what is that exactly what I said? We should reform the system, right? Because people cheat the system. We get that. But there are more people who get help from the system than cheated, number one. But the second thing that I would say is that why not just open up Medicare to everyone then? Because we're all paying into it. So just open it up to everybody. What would be the problem with that?
If somebody can afford their own health care, why are we paying for it?
everybody
Because everybody should get it. What are we saying here?
Well, you say that only the 1% should get taxed, but everybody should get health care. How's
Yeah.
that? It's not equal both ways.
Yeah, but the thing is the 1%
versus a rock.
the 1% would also get universal health care. They'll also get it. They're not excluded from it. Everyone should get it. I don't care. Like, yeah, I would say, yeah, even Elon Musk should get universal health care. He should get it too. Everyone should get it. What would be the problem with that?
But why shouldn't everybody pay high taxes or low taxes? If it was equal across the board, don't you think that it would be fair?
Yeah, sure. Like,
let's say that
it's-
let's say your channel overnight, you end up becoming a billionaire.
yeah,
Well, maybe not a billionaire because the difference between a million and a billion is just
yeah.
astronomical.
I got you.
Let's just say you became a millionaire overnight. You put in a way different tax bracket.
Yeah,
You're okay with it, with these potential new taxes or whatever. You're okay with paying up to 75% of your earnings straight to the government for whatever they want to do.
well, that wouldn't happen. But the second thing I would say is that if I'm paying 75%, everybody's a millionaire who's paying 75%. What do we get for that? Does everybody get universal health care? What's the trade-off? Like, for example, if the trade-off for me paying, if I'm a millionaire, right, and the trade-off for me paying 60% of my taxes to the government, if the trade-off is we get universal health care, universal education, and guaranteed housing, yeah, Cool. I'm for that.
Well, a lot of people that worked hard for that money, though, they're not okay with it, and that's what I'm saying. I was trying to put that analogy into perspective. Like, that's your hard-earned money from you getting on here and speaking your word, and
Yeah,
you
but
know,
like what I'm saying is that what is the
why would
trade-off?
you want to? The trade-off is you're potentially putting your money towards somebody who chooses addiction,
No,
and
no,
they're
I'm not.
laughing in your face.
No, I'm not.
That's what happens in Canada with
No,
the so-called
no,
safe injection
no,
sites.
no, it doesn't. Like
I'm not.
I'm not. If millionaires pay 60% of their taxes and everyone gets universal health care, does that mean that, yeah, sure, an addict can get universal health care, but so can like a homeless veteran. So what's the problem?
Well, the homeless veterans already have a set up situation for them, which should be better anyways. I don't even want to talk about that
Yeah,
because
because
our veterans are very, very mistreated.
right, the VA is one that's
We
set up for them,
have.
and you know what affects the VA? Funding. They don't have enough funding for it. So if
I
everyone would,
understand. So if we
so if
cut
everyone would
funding
just
from other
got.
things,
So what I'm saying is that if everyone gets universal health care, even if millionaires are paying 60% of their taxes, but we all get universal health care, we all get guaranteed housing, we all get universal education, what's the issue then? What's the
I
problem?
gotta pay. So the problem would be we definitely would have to do some cutting
No, we wouldn't.
on a lot of funding. Yeah, well, unless you want to continue with the debt, that's the thing. We need to bring the debt ceiling down. We
No, we
can't
don't.
just keep trying to spend more money.
What
We
are you talking
can
about?
barely
What do you
back
mean?
it already
If we would have had universal
with our
health
debt
care,
ceiling.
if we would have had universal health care, our debt would go down because I think 15 to 20% of our debt is medical costs. Our debt would
Okay,
actually
so
go
let's
down if we
say.
had universal health care.
Okay, so let's say since America has the largest military on the planet, let's say we cut military funding by 30%. That in itself would be enough to do what you're talking about. But will they do it? Will the world allow us to stop production of our military by a certain amount?
The production of our military
It's
all
hard
comes
to
from
it's really hard to know because what's going
right.
on in
the
the
the,
world.
the production of our military all comes from private contractors who just want to make profit. Really, it's all on the profit motive. They make useless equipment for wars that we're never going to be in.
Amen. Well, I just want to listening to him discuss this with you. His bottom line keeps coming back to money or something that doesn't support human rights, and that's kind of what the entire antithesis of their argument is. It's like,
No, I do support human rights.
no, listen, I'm not saying you don't because you think you do, but you don't, because as soon as it becomes a monetary, you keep saying, don't tax me if it's going to help people, and I don't think it will. And we're telling you it will. It's the same issue where you kept bringing up taxing millionaires. If they're being if I'm worth $10 million and you tax me 40% of that, I still have $6 million. It's the same thing with Elon and them. You're talking about people, the top 1%, who literally have not paid taxes since Trump's first election, are whining about, oh, I'm worth $250 billion. But if you tax me $22 billion, I'm gonna go broke. No, the fuck they won't. And that's the problem. Y'all sit up here and placate to their foolishness as if the sky is gonna fall. If we woke up tomorrow and Trump or Elon was worth $0, you know what you do? Go get them eggs for less.
You know, if Elon Musk lost 99% of his fortune right now,
He'd
if
still
it
be
just
a billionaire.
he'd still be a billionaire. And the thing that drives me, because I get his points, but he was a little bit all over the place with his arguments.
That's
Why?
his worth though. That's not how much
Hang
money
on,
he
stop.
actually
I'm
has.
talking.
Give him a second.
I'm talking. The thing is like we as regular working class people pay a higher percentage of our own incomes than these billionaires do in
Exactly.
taxes. Here I am. It's a lot more for me to lose $3,000 a year than it is for a billionaire to lose
So doesn't it?
$3,000 a year.
So doesn't it make a lot of
And
sense
the other
then
thing
to
I wanted
actually
to mention,
boycott
the
the
other thing I wanted
companies
to
and stop
mention
buying
is
their
that
products?
I don't know why you
Let her
started
talk.
your sentence in the
Let her
like
finish,
the
bro.
middle of the month.
There was a gap, so I stepped in. I apologize.
So anyway, and the other thing with this healthcare issue is no, we would not have to pay so much because like Bolsey said, a lot of our debt is in medical debt. And we already pay us taxpayers already, like, there's a lot of people who don't have insured, they're uninsured, so they go to emergency rooms and then those bills are never paid. We pay those bills. Instead of paying those bills, we could all pay universal health care. It wouldn't change at all. We all have universal health care and people wouldn't have to do things like resorting to going to emergency rooms. And you also mentioned illegal immigrant or undocumented immigrants going. Listen, if you got a body, you should get medical care. Nobody should
If
have
you're
to.
an illegal
Nobody should have
immigrant,
to
you don't
be-
deserve the benefits of being an American citizen.
It's cool that you'll
Because
say
if you
that.
pay into it, you deserve it, which I agree with. But if you don't pay into it, you don't deserve it.
Oh,
They
hold
pay
on.
into
Let me ask this question. Let me ask this question.
They pay
So
taxes.
you're not for human rights then, because you said you were for human rights, but you're not. Because
Okay,
you
let
just
me.
said that.
Okay, then let me
Hold
correct
on,
myself.
excuse
I'm
me.
about human rights
Hey. And
for
this is for
Americans
hold on,
with
excuse
Hold
me.
on,
American
Inky.
money.
Hold on, Inky. Hold
This
on.
is
Hold
for
on.
this is for everybody. Friends, not friends, I don't care. If the host is speaking, mute up.
My apologies.
All right. So, Inky, let me go. Let me ask you this question. So, you said that. Well, you actually said you're going to clarify. What I was going to ask you is that you said that if you're not an American citizen, you don't get the privileges of an American citizen. So, like, if an illegal person comes here, they shouldn't get their like due process. Like, the cops should just kind of like beat on them because they don't have rights. Clarify that for me, please. Hold on. I'm going to invite you to unmute. Give me a second. All right. You can unmute now. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, so that's not nowhere near what I was meaning. I'm not saying like if you come up to the American border, you deserve to be, boom boomed on sight. That's not what I'm saying. If you come through the port of entry, if you come in legally, if you let the American people know, I will come in, I will be a productive part of society. I will pay taxes. Sorry, my dog's barking. I will bring America further into the world.
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay for that. Bring them into the country. Give them the benefits of being an American citizen. But if you're in another country and you want to just come in and waltz in and just, stake out in an abandoned house for 3 years and until it's, the hot is cleared and say, hey, I want a driver's license. I want this. I want that. That's not okay. That's
not?
what I am about.
Okay. No, I could get that. There should be logistical things done to make sure that these people are safe to drive, et cetera, et cetera. We do that with everyone. What I'm saying is that, like, some of the privileges that we're talking about, like, let's say if we have universal health care, if someone is like an illegal or undocumented person that comes over the border and we have universal health care, you're saying that they shouldn't get health care because they're not a citizen?
They shouldn't be able to receive it until they've went through the proper authorities to show the American population that they are going to be a productive part of society and not a criminal.
Are they human?
Because there are a lot of they are human, yes.
All right, so
But
they should get
just
all the
because
rights a
they-
human has.
But is America God? Can America give everybody God-given rights all the time on the entire world? No, we have to focus on our families here in America first.
If you
and
step in
then
our
once we
borders,
have
you should have human rights like everyone else.
If you're not in American borders, you still have if you still have a human right.
Yeah, I know.
That's the Geneva Convention. The Geneva Convention
Says that everyone should have human rights no matter where you are. Yeah, I understand, but some countries don't live up to that.
Benefits.
Right.
I'm
So
talking about the benefits. So
like
if
what?
if you're not under a certain insurance company, should you get that insurance company's benefits?
No, of course you're not going
Or
to get it.
if
Which is
you-
which
if
is
you
why
are
I don't
not
believe in.
paying for full
Which is why.
coverage,
And
should
Inky,
you get
slow
full
down.
coverage?
Inky, slow down.
I'm sorry.
Listen.
I'm sorry.
So yeah, I get if you're not under if you're not under Humana healthcare, you're not going to get benefits from Humana healthcare. I understand that. What I'm saying is in the United States, if I believe in universal healthcare, if America would have universal healthcare, even if a person is undocumented, they should still be able to receive access to care. I don't care if they're undocumented, because they're still a human
I
being.
mean, we can agree to disagree because it's not going to go anywhere. It's not like we're going to change each other's minds.
No.
I can definitely agree to disagree on it because where you're saying I can understand, I can see that point of view. I internally though, as patriotic as I am, I just can't see past the fence of giving
That's
my
not
money to
patriotic.
somebody.
you're inhumane.
How is it not patriot?
It's
How
not,
is it
and
not patriotic to think about my
I
own
just
neighbors?
feel,
I can
feel
I can
compelled to
understand.
mention.
I'm
I
sorry.
would
I'm
give.
sorry, Issa.
I
I'm
would
gonna let you
give
go.
if
No
Inky,
worries.
hold on. Inky, hold on. Hold on. Issa, I'm gonna let you go. Just give me 1 second, all right?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. I could understand being a patriot to your country. I could understand being patriotic, but I'm a human before I'm an American. And if another
Amen.
person needs help, they should receive that help. I don't understand saying. I don't understand the
I
mindset
agreed
of.
with that,
Okay, so then if an
but
undocumented person steps into America and we have universal health care, they should still get that care because I'm
And
but
human
they
before I'm
can't.
American.
They can't step in though without proper
are they are they not?
Hold on.
access. Is what I'm saying.
Hold on, Abba. I'm gonna let you go next. Because Issa was next after me, and then Abba, you can go. All right. Go ahead, Issa.
I just didn't want to glide by the fact that everything he mentioned about the way most undocumented people arrive in this country are all white supremacy talking points, and most
Amen.
people
I'm gonna
who
call that
arrive.
out. I'm gonna call
I
that
would
out. Don't
appreciate
say
Inky,
if
white
hold on.
you
Inky, hold on.
supremacy
Let
on
her
this
let her finish. Let her
because
finish.
you
Let her
don't even
finish.
know my
Inky,
nationality.
let her finish. Let her finish. All
First of all,
right.
your nationality is irrelevant to the fact that you were still spewing white supremacy talking points. It doesn't matter your race, it doesn't matter your
Negative.
nationality, it doesn't matter any of that. Because what you don't realize is most people who arrive undocumented do work hard, do pay taxes, and mind their business,
Amen.
and they commit crimes at a significantly, it's 3 times less than native born Americans.
Actually, it's
So
6.
they're not the problem. They're not the problem. And not to mention, undocumented people are not eligible for healthcare benefits other than going to the emergency room in the case of an emergency.
And
So
they
they're
pay
not out
taxes.
here.
May I step in?
They're not out here like what you're saying, and I don't want you to continue to say that you
No,
are about human rights.
May I step in though?
No, you can
Hold on.
when I'm done. You can when I'm done,
Okay.
and I won't
hmm
interrupt you when you speak. But you can't continue to say that you're about human rights if it's if a border is an arbitrary reason why somebody doesn't deserve health care. That's not pro human rights. That's also not patriotism, because people are supposed to be able to come here and make the best of themselves. That's what
Oh,
this nation was founded on.
okay, I agree. But what if that person is somebody of Hannibal Lecter's intentions, and they come in and then they just start doing all kinds of catastrophe all across America
So
because
Anyone
somebody
can
was
be
just like,
that,
"Come
my
on
friend.
in." Right.
Anyone can be that.
So let me
Hold,
ask.
hold on, everybody,
Yep.
pause for me real quick. This is what I'm gonna do. We're gonna do a showtime for everybody to get their points out. Abba, you were supposed to be next, so I'm gonna let you go.
Yeah.
And then Abba, after you, Abba will be you, Inky, and
Mhm.
then I'm gonna let Jonesy go, and then it'll be Issa last. All right, we're gonna go ahead and start it now. So Abba, you're gonna be up first. You have 1 minute. Go ahead, please.
Okay. I mean, considering
And then Abba.
I just want to refute everything that Inky keeps saying. Like, and Nico, might have been Jonesy was saying, he's undermining his own argument for human rights, because you cannot say you support human rights unless certain boundaries aren't crossed or blah, blah, blah. So he's undermining that. And then the fact that he overlooks the fact that what we keep saying is, if you value human life, you or anyone else
In
who's
medical
being
debt,
taxed
and
will
we already
understand
pay
there's a
us
greater
taxpayers
value
already.
in what you are
There's a lot
giving
of
up
people.
monetarily to
Hold on. So
survive
he's
and
undermining
to
that.
make
And
other
then the fact
humans'
that he
lives
overlooks the
better.
fact that
You
what we keep
de-escalate
saying is,
crime,
if
you
you
de-escalate a
value
lot of
human
other
life,
issues, and you make humanity
you
better,
or
which makes the
anyone else
nation
who's
better.
being
You
taxed
can't call
will
yourself a
understand
patriot and then
there's a
support people
greater
who are
value in
anti-human
what you
rights,
are giving up monetarily to
pro-Confederacy,
survive and to
pro-Yahtzee,
make
other humans' lives better. You de-escalate crime,
All right,
you
Inky is up to you.
de-escalate a lot of other
You're
issues,
next. Go
and
ahead.
you make humanity better, which makes the nation better. You can't call yourself
Yeah,
a
I don't know. I
patriot
kind of feel
and then
attacked at this
support people
point.
who are anti-human rights,
Just because of my political views.
pro-Confederacy,
But
pro-Yahtzee.
I mean, if borders didn't matter, no country would
All right,
have them.
Inky is up to you.
Not even
You're next.
Russia
Go
and
ahead.
Ukraine would have a border. Everybody's, entitled to any land, right? That's basically the excuse me. That's basically the argument. If everybody is entitled to human rights, everybody is entitled to any law, anywhere, in any country, at any time. That I don't agree with, because Italy wouldn't allow it, France wouldn't allow it, UK wouldn't allow it, Ukraine definitely doesn't allow it, and Russia, China, Taiwan, none of them are allowing anyone to just freely come into their country without any kind of restriction. And they do have those restrictions. You can look it up. There may be one or two countries.
Go ahead,
So
Jonesy.
I don't really have much to say. I just have a few questions, and I'm going to repeat them again when my showtime is up because I know you're not going to remember them. So when we get off of this, I'm going to open up with my questions. So the first question that I have is, what is your obsession with
Go ahead,
Hannibal?
Jonesy.
Because you mentioned Hannibal a few times, and when you mention Hannibal, it's like the worst of the worst. But you voted for someone who said they were endorsed by Hannibal, so that's one. Two, if you were to go to, let's say, France, and you got into a car accident, right, and you broke your leg, should the people of France just leave you on the street to bleed out, or should they take you to the hospital to receive help, right? My third question is, let's say that I want to take the bigoted stance that you take. Even if these people came over here and got health insurance, why wouldn't you want them to be able to get vaccinated so that they don't continue harming your community?
Cool. And last is
My
Issa. Go
third
ahead.
question is, let's
Yeah,
say that I
Jonesy
want
made a
to
really good
take
point
the
because
bigoted
if I went
stance
over
that
to
you take.
England and I broke my
Even if
leg,
these people
I would
came
get
over
it.
here
I
and
would
got
I
health
would get it
insurance, why
fixed,
wouldn't
and
you want them to
I
be
wouldn't
able to
even pay a
get
dime for
vaccinated
it.
so that they don't
So that's a
continue
weird thing
harming
to
your
just like
community?
let somebody because they're not from within the borders not access
Cool. And
healthcare.
last is Issa.
Not
Go
to
ahead.
mention all these borders were created by our colonizers, and they've done nothing to benefit the people who live in these lands. Only the people in power. Not to say that that they don't exist, because they do, but we didn't put them there. But it's just weird to have this like humanist stance, but you're not really about taking care of humans. And that's another thing that gets me about MAGA. They'll be the first to say things like America first when sending money overseas or anything like that. But we've talked about multiple things to help actual Americans, and he's against those things like universal health care, which is weird. That's weird to me. And also Trump wants to spend more money on the DoD, not less money. So that budget's not going anywhere.
All righty. I appreciate everybody. So I think we got most of our points out. Next time I'll probably give it like a minute 10 because I think you guys got cut off. Apologize for that. But yeah, so I hope that gives a clearer picture of what we're all talking about, Inky, because one thing that confuses me, like Issa just pointed out, is that, or that's actually the question I asked you in the beginning. A lot of what Trump wants to do, a lot of his policies, are against some of the things that you said that you would actually believe in and would actually support, like reforming the justice system, reforming our healthcare system, making sure that our education is more equitable and more fair. These are things that you kind of expressed that you would support, but Trump is not only against those things, he wants to make them worse. Yeah, I mean, one of the things that you actually mentioned was cutting the military budget by 30%. Trump doesn't want to do that. He's mentioned going to war to take over Greenland and Panama. That would not cut the budget by 30%. That would increase it. So he seems to be against things that you would be against, yet you still support them. And if you're about America first, universal health care helps all of these. Are things that we're kind of confused about. So, like, maybe you need to go ahead and clarify again. I'm going to go ahead and let you go. Everybody just mute up for a moment. Go ahead and let Inky go ahead for, like, I would say, like a minute and a half. I'm sorry, go ahead, Jonesy.
Can you answer my questions first, though? Because that was all I had on my show.
These are things that. Oh, yeah, I got you. Yeah, go ahead and answer Jonesy's questions, and she can repeat them if you didn't know. Go ahead and unmute yourself. I'm going to send you an invite to unmute. Go ahead. Go ahead and let Inky go ahead for, like, I would say, like a minute and a half. I'm sorry, go ahead, Jonesy.
Yeah, I was going to ask that you keep at least Jonesy up, though, that she can help me keep me on point with those questions. Because I was not really able to keep up with a whole lot of that because it was a lot. But can we start with the first one?
Yeah.
Or actually, no. Actually, the first thing is I don't have an obsession with Hannibal. It's more. I'm trying to put in perspective. There are people in Pakistan that still back. I don't know if I could say that name here.
Mustache Man.
Yeah, no, you're
Mustache
Mustache
Man.
Man.
Yeah, I had to pause myself a little bit there. The
I
Mustache
know it
Man. There's
sounds
still
silly.
people. So
It's TikTok. It's silly. But go ahead.
I argue letting them in because I don't agree with those points. You know what I'm saying? That guy was not cool and they back him. So why would we allow them
Mustache Man.
Yeah,
our
no.
benefits? Why would you want to put your money towards that? I had to pause myself a little bit there. The
All
Mustache
right,
know
but
it
Man.
that's
sounds
not
silly.
answering my question.
It's
So,
TikTok.
like,
It's silly.
you
But go
know,
ahead.
obviously, right? And when in your examples, you were like, what if a Hannibal type person came in, right? So, just me as somebody, obviously, I don't know you. I only know you on the surface from what we talked about here. But I would assume, like, how you use the term Hannibal, it's a bad thing, right? And when in your examples, you were like, what if a
Anybody
Hannibal
that
type
acts
person
the way
came in,
that
right?
he did
So
is not a
just
great
me as
person, and
somebody,
they are
obviously, I don't know
rarely
you. I
ever
only know you
reformed. So what's the
so
point in
when
investing
you're
money into it?
so when oh wait, so when your candidate, so this was my first question. So when your candidate said that he was endorsed by Hannibal, what made that attractive to you? Because you're saying that, you know,
I'm
anybody
going to
that's
be honest. I didn't
associated.
know that. That's one thing that I personally. I am not one to steer away
So
from
when
any
your
kind of
candidate, so this was my first question.
shortcomings.
So
I
when your
personally did not
candidate
know that.
said
I
that
don't
he
try to
was
keep up a
endorsed
whole
by
lot with things,
Hannibal,
but I am trying
what
to more
made
inform
that
myself lately,
attractive
the
to
last
you?
couple of
Because
years,
you're
because
saying that,
if I
you know,
don't, then
anybody
obviously
that's
we're all
associated.
going to crap. But
Respect,
that is
but
one thing I
that's
honestly did
not,
not know, that he was
that's
endorsed by
something
him.
that that's not true. It wasn't true, but what happened was at one of his rallies, he said, you know, I got a call from my friend Hannibal Lecter, and he told me, you know, to run in this race. And Hannibal Lecter, my friend Hannibal Lecter, he kept saying he was endorsed by Hannibal Lecter, to the point that the actor who played and you know in the movie was like, I never had this conversation with him. I don't know what he's talking about. So I was just curious, you know, if you, I know you said you never heard it, but I was just curious like that. It was really popular. So, you know, for you
Yeah,
to
no, it was just
specifically say like
coincidence. I'm sorry.
Hannibal, you know, as a bad person, and you know, he said he was endorsed by Hannibal. I'm like, whoa, that's, you
Yeah,
know.
no, it was just a coincidence. I look at Hannibal as like basically, if you had a definition for the worst human being on that could ever exist, like you'd see a picture of Hannibal. So that's why I say that, kind of.
Right. And then, I mean, and off subject, and then JD Vance called him Smittler. So there's that too. But my second question was, right? So let's say you went to France, right? And you got in a car accident in your Uber to your Airbnb and you broke your leg, right?
That's why I
Should you
say
be
that,
able to get
kind of.
your leg in a cast and, you know, be able to make it to your Airbnb, or at
Yes.
least make it back to the States in one
Yes,
piece? So
I that's what I'm saying. Like I felt like I got attacked too soon to be able to touch on a lot of that stuff. Yes, I agree to immediate health care. If you are injured or something, you get the health care, but that bill needs to go to somebody. Is it the taxpayers, or is it the person who actually obtained the injury? Is it the person who caused the injury? These things are what's in question, not the Medicare, or sorry, the medical assistance that is needed. That's not questioned. I agree with you guys on that 100%. I don't want that to be questioned. Everyone except for people that are along the lines of, you know, the obvious Hannibal people. You know, if you're not that, you deserve some kind of health care. But otherwise, are you a productive part of the planet? No, you're
okay, so
taking
so
souls away from production.
here's my pushback to that then, right? By that logic, I can say that, so I live in DC, and the next state, oh well, this isn't a state, but the state next to me is Maryland. From what you're saying, people who have Maryland tags on their car should not be able to drive in DC, because my taxes that I pay in DC pay for the upkeep of the streets in DC. So because they're not contributing to the streets of DC, they can't drive their cars in DC. They have to have a DC plate, or they have to use DC transportation. Does that make any sense? Like that doesn't make any
No,
sense.
I see where you're coming from, but that analogy can't necessarily work because each of those states get federal funding, and so the tax dollars you get from the state uses, and then they get federal funding. So it's all under federal. So even though you have
No,
states'
not
rights,
necessarily. Not
everything is still
necessarily
under
because
federal.
that make
But I don't
number
agree with the
one.
road tax and stuff anyway, because all that stuff
But
already has
that's
allocated tax, but they
that's
still
not
charge us.
necessarily true. A portion of it, yes, comes from federal, but not 100%. That's number one.
I agree.
Number two, most of it comes from your local stuff, like your county, your state, your village, whatever, municipality that you live in. That's next, right? So that's where that money comes from. But on top of that, illegal immigrants cannot get any type of federal benefits. So that money is not coming from any federal tax money. If they are getting any type of medical insurance, it's coming from local tax money. It's coming from local taxes. And like I said, even let's say I shared your stance that illegal immigrants should go about it the right way. I do think people should immigrate here the legal way. I
Mhm.
also think that we should have better immigration laws. I think that we should have more judges. I think that we should have a better
Absolutely.
way of going through the legal process so that people don't have to sneak in or have 10-year waiting periods, right? But
Absolutely.
let's say I 100% went with your stance, which it sounds like you're pretty close to zero. Okay, let's say that I was
Absolutely.
somebody who was zero tolerance, right? At the very least, if you're going to be, around me in my city, we just went through a global pandemic. I would at least feel a little bit better knowing you had access to vaccines and a doctor so that nothing is spreading in my community. And I know that might come off a little bit bad. I feel that way about Americans. They need to
I
be able
agree
to
if
go
they
to
want to
the
put the
doctor
vaccines
more.
out.
I
I'm sorry
work with
if I'm talking to you, but I do agree with the vaccines. If the government, like, so if there's a pandemic, our government, being that they are servants to the American people, and I guess potentially the world even, because we are almost leading the world with, a lot of things, but there's still other leaders in the world. I'm not going to just say, America's the best, but sorry, I kind of just derailed my own train there. I thought.
Yeah, no, but I just want you to think about it. You get what I'm saying? Because even if I won't even say like from a xenophobic standpoint, let's just say from a selfish standpoint, I would want the people around me to be healthy so that I can't blame them for making me sick. Because whenever things go wrong in this country, we tend to blame it on the minority group.
Yeah,
So
that's what
I
it
would
was,
at
the
least want that,
vaccines.
even, I mean, and I believe you should be able to do whatever you want with your body. I'm not saying that you're forcing vaccines, but I'm saying if you have a code, you should be able to go see a doctor, period, so that you don't give me your
Absolutely,
code.
yeah. Absolutely. So if there is like a pandemic though, like we had with the COVID, our government is almost obligated through the fact that there are servants that they need to make sure that the American population stays healthy. That's just an obligatory thing from the government. That should be well noted and common sense for everybody.
Inky, can I ask you a
Yeah.
question? So since y'all got into that one particular, so if you say the government is almost obligated to stand up against a pandemic or something like that,
And common sense for everybody.
Inky, who would you fault for the pandemic spreading across the nation? If you know, if you say the government is almost obligated to stand up against a pandemic or something
Ooh.
like that. Oh, okay.
Oof. Yeah. Yeah.
Who would you fault
What
for the
subject?
pandemic spreading across the nation? If you
Yeah.
know,
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know all that stuff.
stand up against a pandemic or something
Ooh.
like that. Oh, okay.
Oof. Yeah. Yeah.
Who would you fault
What
for the
subject?
pandemic spreading across the nation? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know all that stuff.
Ooh.
Oh, okay.
Oof. Yeah. Yeah.
What subject?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Jonesy, you're talking about like what you're discussing is something that Inky is totally against. You're talking about like public health and human rights and supporting everybody. People who are greedy and who are anti-human, They don't care about that. They're selective. Only this person can get care. Only
So
this person can fit in. Only
so
this
what
person is
instead of
worthy.
let's ask them directly,
He right
Inky,
here.
what is your
Human
definition of
rights and
human
supporting
rights?
everybody.
And then after
People who
that,
are
can you give
greedy
me
and who
3
are
examples of what
anti-human,
you think a
they
human
don't
right
care about
is?
that. They're selective.
So, I
Only
mean,
this person
I'm
can
not
get
gonna lie. I
care.
just recently
Only
looked up
this
the
person can
definition of
fit
human
in.
rights, and
Only
I
this person
cannot
is
remember
worthy.
what it
Let's
was.
ask them directly.
But
He right
obviously,
What is your
it's
it
common
doesn't have
sense
to
what
be
human rights are.
it
But I
doesn't
mean,
have
I
to
was
be
looking up
technical.
like the NATO's
Just give me
definition of it.
no, it doesn't
No.
have to be like the textbook or the political. Just give me what
So,
you
I mean,
think of when you
I'm not
think
gonna lie. I just
of,
recently
of
looked up
human
the
rights, and
definition
then
of
just
human
give me
rights, and
3 examples of
I
those.
cannot
Hold
remember
on,
what it
Jonesy.
was.
Hey,
You have the right to autonomy. You have the right to pursue happiness. You have the right to speak your mind. You have the right to think your
No, it
mind.
doesn't have to be like the
I mean,
If somebody does harm to
Just give me
you,
what you think of when you think
are obligated by
human
the
rights,
God-given
and then just
right
give
to
me 3
defend your
examples of
soul.
those.
Inky, can I ask you a quick question? Who
Yeah,
is
go
a
ahead.
human? Who is it? What do you define a human as?
A human is a Homo sapien. If somebody does harm to you, but with the soul to know the difference between wrong and right.
So you would be opposed to a supremacist who thinks a Homo sapien who isn't up to their caliber is worthy of pew pewing.
My belief on humanity is that we all bleed red, we're all done equal, and under God, we all have signatures, so there's no difference really between us.
And you voted for who? Who isn't up to their
I voted
caliber
for the
is
man that was
worthy of
speaking the
pew pewing.
message that I wanted to hear. So that's the thing.
The
When
message
we
that
come
you
back to the
just
human rights things, I have the right to think my mind. So if I
Right,
want to
but
think that in my mind, that's
Okay,
what
so
I
that's
want
one
to think.
example. Okay, give me 2 more.
and
So
you
one is
voted
to
for
speak
who?
your mind, and what's another 2 that are human rights that you
Well,
think of,
I,
or what are human rights that are important to you? Give me 3
the
that are
right,
important to you.
the right to defend your soul and the souls that are important to you,
right, but
as in the
Okay.
Second Amendment.
Okay, so that's one example. Okay, and then what's the third one? That's a human right.
The right to assemble.
Or what are human rights? Okay, so
okay.
I'll tell you what my human what I 3 human rights that I believe in, and then I think Volsi should go, and then I think Abba should go, right?
And obviously,
So
that's just examples. You know, I
yeah,
can list them all day.
they're just examples, right? But from our answers, I want you to hear
Yes,
our
water,
answers.
Callie.
I'll tell you what my I want you
Sorry, I
to
had to respond to that.
I want you to hear our answers, and then I want you to put it next to your answers, and then I want to know if your definition if your
If I
top
agree or disagree.
human rights will change, right? So I think number 1 human right should be clean
Sorry, I
air.
had to respond to that.
Number 2, I think, is clean water that is ingestible, that you can drink, you can bathe, all of that. And I think number 3 is access to
If I
food,
agree or disagree.
especially healthy food. Those are the top 3 human rights to me. So I think Volsi should go next.
Yes.
Number 2, I
Yeah.
think, is clean
Access
water that
to
is
health,
ingestible, that you can
access
drink, you can bathe,
to
all of that. And I think number 3
access to
is
health,
access to
access
food,
to
especially healthy food.
well, actually,
Those are
I
the
should say
top
this:
3 human rights to me.
access to basic
So I think
necessities,
Volsi should go
basic
next.
necessities being
Yes.
shelter, food, water, air, health, etc. I do agree with access to self-defense and the freedom to think, the freedom to do whatever you want as long as it doesn't harm anyone else. Shelter, food, water, air,
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
etc.
So
I do
mine
agree
is
with access to
reciprocity of
self-defense
your own
and
existence. You cannot claim that you think it's okay for you as a human to
freedom
mistreat another
to do
human,
whatever you want
because
as long as
that
it
means
doesn't
it's
harm
okay for
anyone
someone to
else.
mistreat you. Secondly, all humans should. So mine is being
Well,
a
what do you mean by that,
reciprocity
though?
of your
I'm
own
sorry. What do you mean by
existence.
that? That
cannot
first one.
claim that
The
you
golden
think
rule,
it's okay
essentially.
for you as a human.
Like
You want
you don't get respect if you're not
because
respected.
Treat
no,
treat people the
no,
way you want to be treated.
exactly. It's not about
Okay, yeah, I
respect.
was raised on that one. I was raised on that aspect. That I can
Obviously
understand.
not. Obviously not, because
What do
you'll
you mean by
disrespect
that, though?
humanity if it doesn't meet up to some criteria where if you don't have that same criteria, you want them to treat you as a
get
human.
respect if you're not respected. Well, they should also treat me the way they want to be treated, though, right? It's two hands on the same table.
So listen to the hypocrisy. If they are kind-hearted and you're evil, you want them to be kind to you and accept your inhumanity.
No, that's the thing. If they come in kind, do it the right way, say, hey, I'm a productive part of society. You know, I'm from Italy and I don't like what they got going on over there. I want to be an American citizen, pay your taxes, and get your freedom. Cool. Pass this test, and you're an American citizen. I do agree with these things.
Inky, wait, Inky, do you know what's going on in Ukraine right now?
I'm a productive part of society. I see. So that right there, I can start
wait,
saying
I'm not switching the
things.
subject. I'm not switching the subject. I'm talking about. I don't want to say.
I am aware. Yes.
There's something going on in Ukraine right now, right?
Well, without you being able to say the word, I don't know.
But I'm saying, would you want to live in Ukraine while there's boom booms and stuff going off right now?
No, wait, I'm not switching the subject.
No.
Would you want to live like in a country
Well,
where
no one wants to live in war.
right?
I'm not going to say it's a dumb question because no question is dumb, but
It's dumb,
obviously no one wants to live in war.
obviously not, right? Or would you have you ever, like, I like to watch gory videos online, so I go and, you know, I probably shouldn't say this, I go watch cartel videos, right? It's a horrible thing to look at, but have you seen those type of videos before?
Yes, actually, before the war in...
Wait, let's not get off topic. It's just yes or no. Right? So you've seen those type of videos, right? And that's that's a horrible way to live, right? And you know that sometimes those people, you know, they terrorize the people where they are, right? So you already admitted that you wouldn't want to live in those conditions. So if you're fleeing those conditions, hold on, wait. If you're fleeing those conditions, right? Are you thinking about, like, oh, I need to go get this form, I need to make sure I get on a plane, I need to make sure I get a lawyer, I got to get 10,000 American dollars? Do you think that you're thinking about that as you're, like, escaping from harm being done to you?
Or do you just want to survive?
Are you thinking about, like, oh, I need to go get?
No, I agree where you're coming from. That's why they.
So
when
you
they
want to
come here,
just
they seek
survive?
asylum. Can I say?
You want to just survive? Yeah. So a lot of them are just seeking asylum, right? They're escaping. They're escaping from something. Like it's not like they're coming from a tropical wonderland.
So I can agree with that. So if they're coming from a war-ridden, sorry, I don't know. I keep doing it. I'm sorry. If they come from all kinds of crazy situation, if they come from a troubled area. And they're coming over here, we should offer them at least a temporary assistance until either something stabilizes where they came from or until they can come through the system, but they get like a temporary, you know, like a limited access card. A limited access card, right.
Do you think that us being the supposed #1 country on earth, we're supposed to be the richest country, we have everything, everyone wants to be here, right? If they're coming from a place that's troubled and they're escaping violence, right? They're just trying to survive. Do you think that it's do you think that it's respectable, or do you think that it's a good thing for them to come from a place that was violent, they could have lost their life, and then get here and told that they're less than and they don't deserve basic stuff like a place to live, healthcare, food?
I can agree with like tons of your guys' points. I really do. I'm really a middle grounder, and while I'm not necessarily zero tolerance, there are lines that I personally won't cross. So I vote certain ways, but when this brings me up. Of this happens, you're leading yourself into a very tight predicament where it can cause hard times like what's going on in Ukraine to happen in your own area because you're letting so many people in.
But it won't though.
But you say it won't, but it's a possibility.
These people are not bringing boom booms into the country. They're not bringing militias into the country. Come on now.
Yeah, Inky, this is what we're saying before. Hold on, Inky. This is what we were saying before, right? Like what's going on over in the troubled areas of Eastern Europe. If we allow more people from South America into the country, or people from the Caribbean into the country, that doesn't mean that will happen. Why would that happen? That sounds like a huge conspiracy theory.
It
That-
is.
it sounds
I'm
like,
just
you know,
saying it
if
could
we,
White
happen.
replacement theory.
You prepare for what could
we
happen.
allow, but it
You
won't.
can't just put everything off.
But
You got you
oh,
say it
okay.
won't,
So
but
Inky, let
anything
me ask
can
you a question.
happen.
Let me ask you a question. Hold on. Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. Back in the early 20th century, hold on. Back in the early 20th century, people were saying the same thing that you're saying about Italians. Did it happen?
You prepare for what could happen.
No.
Okay. So back in the
I'm sorry,
early
what?
back in the early 20th century, what you're saying right now, people were saying the same thing about Italians and Irish. Did that happen? People were saying the same thing that
Did
you're
what
saying
happen?
about Italians. Did what you say happen when we let in a bunch of Italian and Irish people?
No.
Okay. So back in the early
Well, they came from a respected country.
in the early 20th
No,
century,
they didn't. Racism.
No,
They're
they didn't.
respected. No, it's
No, they didn't.
No, it's
People
not.
did not like. Hold on, wait,
Wait, wait.
hold on. Pause. Everybody pause. Everybody pause. Everybody pause. Everybody pause. Everybody pause. Everybody pause. No. The reason why he said it was racism because you said it came from a respected country. You mean white?
Well, they came from a respected. No. That's not what I'm saying. So as of right now, Russia is not a respected country. Am I wrong?
You're not
Are they
wrong,
white?
but
Yes.
but you're kind of missing my point here. You're kind of missing my point. What you're saying about that if we let all these people in, it could cause what's happening over in Ukraine. But we're talking about people we're letting in are from South America and the Caribbean and Africa. You're saying if we let all those people in, what happens in Ukraine will happen over here if we let more Africans and Caribbean and South Americans into the country? What you're saying about
Can I rephrase what I said? It wasn't because they were from it wasn't because they were from a respected country. It was because they were of honorable people. Their culture was honorable.
Their culture was honorable.
Wait, hold on.
Hold on. So Africans and Caribbean and South Americans don't have an honorable culture?
No, they do.
All right,
That's not what I'm saying.
so everything that you said about it, about the troubles happening here in America, if we let in more South Americans, is BS. Then their culture was honorable.
Come on, Inky. Let me tell you
No,
something.
we should let them in.
Hold
If
on,
they come
wait.
in through the process, we let them in.
Inky, I want you to look this up.
All right, so
You might not
everything that you
believe
said
me,
about it,
but
about
when
the
Italians first got
troubles
here
happening
in
here
the
America, if we
20th
let in more
century,
South Americans, is
It was
BS.
bad, I know.
they were also N-words.
No, we should let them in. Yeah, I know.
Until they
They were
became racist
N-words,
against black
but
people, then they weren't N-words anymore.
They were not considered YT when they first got here. So they did not come from a respected country. They did not want them here. The so-called Native Americans.
That's why I had to.
that's
That's
what
why I had
the
to rephrase the
the
respected
YT
country
people
part.
were calling themselves. They were calling themselves the Native Americans. Didn't want them here. There's a movie called Gangs of New York. It's like 3 fucking hours, but it's
I've
very
seen it.
Amazing movie.
it's very true to real life.
I've seen it, but it's been some years.
But so then you know what we're talking about then.
Well, I mean,
All right,
like I said, like it's been some years.
hold on. So
I mean,
Inky,
like I- and
we
like I
have
said
to
also-
hold on, Inky. We have to back up because like we have to go back to what you're saying because when Jonesy brought up the fact that there are people coming in because they're trying to escape cartels, they're trying to escape the troubles in Ukraine, etc. And then you said if we let all those people in, the same thing that's happening in those countries can happen over here. That's what you said, right? Because when Jonesy brought up the fact that there are people coming.
I'm sorry, can you phrase that again?
Okay. When Jonesy was talking about people who are trying to escape like cartel violence, you saying that they're all trying to come into America and live a better life because they're trying to escape cartel violence. You said that if we let all those people in, the same thing that's happening over there can happen in America, right? Talking about people who are trying to escape. Like it's a possibility. We have to prepare for it. You saying that they're all trying
So
to come into America.
let's say,
and live a better
like as
life
of right
because
now,
they're trying
there's
to
an
escape
influx
cartel
of a bunch of
violence.
Chinese people
You
that are
said
trying to
if we
come
let
in.
all those people in, the same
And
thing that's happening
let's
over
say that
there
maybe
can
that's,
happen in
yeah, I'm not trying to put out any kind of conspiracy. I'm just saying anything could happen. Just like the Big G during the 1940s, they went after, their neighbors. No one saw it coming. But some may have seen it coming, but
What Big G?
stuff can happen. So
Wait,
let's
let
say
me
we
bust
let
your
in
bubble. I don't
20,000
even
Chinese.
no,
and they
because wait.
attack.
This is getting
Yeah,
What
this is getting
big-
conspiracy. This is getting
This is
conspiracy.
getting, but I'm
That's
gonna
why-
let me
that's
hold
why I
on.
mentioned I
Let me
didn't want to
bust.
sound
Let
like
me
that.
wait. Let me bust your bubble real quick.
No one saw it coming.
So I get what you were trying to get at, right? Because we know supposedly the two enemies of the U.S. is China and Russia. Russia. Those are the two
Yeah,
biggest
this is
ones,
getting
right?
conspiracy. This is getting conspiracy.
Did you know that there is a whole community of Russian people here on expired visas in Florida who have children, these so-called anchor babies that everyone is so upset about?
And
Did
they're
you know
not
that?
being deported.
There,
And
it's not just
And I live in
Russians though.
Florida, and I
That
used to
goes
work in a
for.
hospital. So yeah.
But that's not.
Yeah, my mother
Hold
lives in
on.
Florida.
But my
I
point
know about the
is,
situation.
They're not being targeted.
when we talk about, when you said they're
They
not
will
coming,
be.
hold on, wait. When you said people are not coming from reputable countries,
Deported.
why aren't we
It's
stopping
not. It's
this
not
this
just.
And I
this
live in
human?
Florida, and I
Let's
used to
just
work in a
call it what it
hospital.
is. This
So
human
yeah.
trafficking operation
My mother lives
that's
in
going
Florida.
on
I know about the
in
situation.
They're not
Florida.
being targeted.
Why aren't we stopping that? Because obviously, right?
I agree. I agree.
We
That's
shouldn't. We
definitely
shouldn't
a
be
government and
having.
a state government issue.
We
They
shouldn't
need
be
to
having.
solve that. I agree.
All right, I just want to get back to what we were saying earlier, Inky. You said that the people who were escaping from South America were escaping cartel violence. If we let too many of those people in, some of the same things could happen over here, and we have to prepare for that because it's a possibility. Correct? Is that what you're
Well,
saying?
not them,
I just
not
wanna get
them
back to
specifically.
what
I'm
we were
saying
earlier,
any
Inky.
influx
said
of
that
a,
the people
a
who were
certain. It
escaping
could
from South
be
America
an
were escaping
invasion.
cartel
I don't know if I can
violence.
say that. It could be
Right. Okay. Understood. I got you. I got you. Understood. Here's the problem. What I said. What you're saying right now. People said the same thing about Italians back in the early 20th century. Did that happen?
Any influx of a certain. No, but it.
Okay.
could
No.
happen.
Hold on. Wait.
That's
Let me.
what
Hold on.
their
Wait.
codes were.
The question was a yes or a no. Did it happen? I got you. Understood.
No, it did not happen.
Okay. So
but it
I'm
could
not
happen.
asking about a but.
Anything.
Hold
could
on.
happen. Right.
Inky.
I
I'm not
understand.
asking a but. Did it happen? Yes or no?
I just
No.
answered it. I said
No, okay. Back in the early 2010s, we also had the same debate with Syrians. People were saying that if we allow all these Syrians in, we can get infiltration, we can get domestic terrorism, we can get people who are bombing things all over the country because we're letting Syrians. Hold on, wait, listen. Because we're letting Syrians in. Did that happen? We also had the same debate with Syrians.
We had certain laws in place that wouldn't allow it to
Did it
happen.
happen?
For a certain
Did
amount
it
of
happen?
terrorism.
Did it happen? We can get people who are bombing things all
With
over the
certain
country
things in
because
place,
we're
no.
letting Syrians. I didn't say with certain things in place. Did it happen or not? Did that happen?
It didn't happen because there were
Right.
certain things in place.
No, okay. We still have those things in place. So everything that you're saying could happen with the people from South America will not happen, right? Because we've been through this thing with this several times. With the Irish, people said what you were saying, it didn't happen. With the Italians, people said what you were saying, it didn't happen. During the 1960s, when African Americans fought for more African and Caribbean immigrants, people were saying what you were saying, and it didn't happen. In the early 2010s, people were saying what you were saying with Syrians, and it didn't happen. Every
you're
single time,
kind
hold
of
on,
trying
hey, hold on,
low.
wait, listen. Every single time, folks have said that if we get an influx of immigrants, it can cause this huge thing in this country to happen. It does not happen. So why do you think it will happen now? When there's no evidence of that being the case.
You can unmute. I muted you because you had a lot of background noise.
Every single time, folks have said that if we get an influx of immigrants, it's going to.
I think it's funny that he said there needs to be something in place, and there's already something in place. It's called capitalism.
That part.
Nobody is going to be able to come in here in droves and make enough money to start up a militia from a foreign entity without any of the three-letter agencies sweeping down on them and monitoring them.
Unless
The
you
only
can buy.
people in this country who are able to strap up like that
part.
are YT Americans.
Yeah, I was just
And
about to say.
even they come across issues. That's
Unless-
why we have the NRA.
Unless you can buy a $5 million green card from Trump.
And monitoring them.
Unless you can
Yeah, I can understand you guys' point of view on it. I've done a lot of research on military strategy, and I know what certain countries are capable of. And
When-
Just okay.
I don't
So
put
in
it
any of
past
these
them.
countries, show me one country that had an invasion of the caliber that you're speaking of that is running under capitalism.
I'm not saying that it's ever happened. I'm saying that it could happen. And I mean, I could.
If it's never happened,
open a
if it's
history book
never
and I could read
happened,
throughout history and try to find
we
one.
don't. My point is, we don't live in the type of society that can foster that type of thing. We don't.
Jones, ask Inc.
Why does-
one question. Of
Uh-huh.
all the terrorist attacks in America, how many of of them were carried out by somebody who was non-white?
My point is, we don't live
I'm sorry, ask that
in a
again.
society
Of
that
all the
fosters
terrorist
that
attacks in
type
America,
of
how many
thing.
were carried out by
We
somebody who was not white? Ask
Why
Inc.
does
one question. Of all
Well, I
the
mean,
terrorist
like, what
attacks
do
in
you
America,
consider as a terrorist
how
attack?
many of
Because
them were carried
that can
out by
be
somebody
anything
who
from
was
like
non-white?
Domestic
Meaning like
terrorism.
the
All
the
domestic terrorism.
unit
of
I have a
guy, a
better
movie
question.
theater situation, a school
how many were carried
situation.
out by
Like, what
I
somebody
have
kind
a
who
of
was
better
terrorist
question. That's
attack
too
are we
broad.
talking
That's too
about? Because
broad. Wait,
that's
wait, guys. That's
exactly
too
way
broad of a
too broad.
question.
Okay, hold
That's
on.
too
Pause,
broad of a
pause, pause.
question.
Go ahead, Jonesy.
How
That
many?
can be
How
anything from like
many
Domestic
non
terrorism. All domestic
YT
terrorism.
people
the unit
have
guy,
done
a movie theater
insurrections in this
situation, a
country?
school
And
situation.
there
Like, what
hasn't
kind
been
of
only
terrorist
one.
attack are we
There's
talking
been at
about?
least
Because that's
16
exactly way
insurrections
too broad.
in the
Okay,
history
hold
of
on.
this
Pause, pause,
country.
pause.
And I believe in 15 of them, the army or the National Guard was called out to disperse the people. You can look this up if you don't believe me. But how many of those insurrections do you think were black and brown
anybody
people?
other than white?
But and let me tell you something.
I honestly don't know. I could throw a
Wait,
number out if it sounds dumb.
zero isn't the answer though. I'll tell you that. Zero is not the answer. You can look this up if you don't believe. But
So
out of, let's
then,
say it's
so
16
then
times.
nobody was
But
innocent then.
wait, out of 16 times, how many of those times do you
Anybody
think were
other than
people of
white?
color? But and let me tell you something.
I honestly don't know.
Zero
Well,
is
at that
not the
time, there
answer.
was little power that people of color even had. So it was like how,
Yeah, so
and
I'm
it
saying
also
16,
takes
and
back to, I think somebody was talking about like
this is
ignorance,
16
and I'm not trying to
times.
say that there is
Wait,
ignorance, but I'm
so
just
this
trying to
is
argue that.
16 times between 1777 and
Well, at
2025.
that time, there
So
was little
from that
power that people of color
250
even had.
years,
So it was
right?
like how,
How
and it
many of
also
those
takes, it also
16
takes back to, I
insurrections do
think
you
somebody was
think
talking about
were
like
people of color?
ignorance, and I'm not trying to say that there is ignorance. I mean,
Just give me a
like I said, I
guess.
don't. I mean, like I said, I could guess and then look dumb because I don't know.
I'll tell you it was around two, and they were both slave revolts. Those were people who were trying to get their human rights, so they were dignified in that. All of the other insurrections were stupid,
I mean,
petty,
like I
dumb
said, I
shit.
don't. I mean, like I said, I
It
Were
could
was
guess
dumb
people
shit.
and then look
were
dumb
people
because I don't know.
opposed to human rights?
They were
Like
exactly.
the one in South Carolina was literally they overthrew the South Carolina government because they had 3 black men get elected to state representatives, and the racists there were so offended that these people were going to fight for human rights that they literally burned the Capitol down.
In this, right? And it's not
Well,
to
that's the
bring it
problem. A lot
it's
of
not to
in the
bring it to
South,
a race
I
thing,
don't
right?
really agree with.
My point is, and it's not to bring it to a race thing. My point is, you're worried about people coming from other places. You should be worried about the people who are here, who are from here, who have the right to do those
First,
things under the
that's the problem. A
radar,
lot of
right?
in the South,
Because a
I
YT
don't
person
really
is
agree
not
with.
going to be questioned about why they're going to go get a pew pew. But
Or
if somebody who looks like they're
I
from
got.
Afghan,
Hey,
if
I'm
I look like
sorry,
I wait,
but
if I
I
look
got
like I was
questions.
from the wait, if I look like I was from the Middle East, I'm sure I would have lots of questions on why I want to buy a pew pew, right? Because a
it's
YT
not
person
even
is not
that,
going to be
Josie.
questioned
Ask
about
him
why they're
this.
going to go get a
If
pew pew. Or
BLM had
somebody who
attacked
looks
January
like they're
6th,
from
or if
Afghan, if
I'm
a
sorry,
bunch
but
of
I got questions.
Arabs had attacked on January 6th, or hell, if a bunch of white women had tried to attack the Capitol on January 6th, would Trump have pardoned them?
no.
BLM had attacked January 6th, or if
Definitely not.
That's a what if situation.
and I love that you keep saying this what if. So when we give you the facts of a matter, like the fact that a bunch of white
Well,
racists
if I throw
did
up a
it,
what if, then it's a what if. But if you throw up a what
no,
if,
no,
it's
no, 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 no,
facts.
no, no. This isn't a what if. Did you see January 6th?
That's a what if situation. Yeah.
Okay.
Who didn't?
Do you wait? Do you think that was patriotic what they did? Because I heard you say
I
that.
think so.
you
Personally, I
were
think
patriotic.
if I throw up a personally, I think that was just a big ass ruse. Sorry if I can't say that, but I think it was a big ruse by the government who paid off a bunch of people to make us look at something different.
You can go ahead and drop him. He's
No,
ridiculous.
okay. So I meant that to say this, right? wait, hold on.
The people who did it have no
No
talking
conspiracy.
points.
Hold
No
on,
conspiracy.
Inky. Hold
No
on.
conspiracy.
Hold on.
So
I
then
was
why would
only
it?
asking you that, right? Because in the beginning of our conversation, you mentioned something about you were patriotic, right? And here's my thing. What is it that makes Americans patriotic? It's our shared nationality, that we all come from the United States and that we're
Hold
supposed to
on,
be the
Inky. Hold
number
on.
one,
Hold on.
the melting pot. We have so much going on, right? So why not have these people come in and welcome them so that they can feel like patriots? Because let me tell you
I
something.
never said don't.
But hold on, most immigrants that I meet are more patriotic than me who was born here. Most
I
of them are
agree.
more willing to go sign up for the armed forces than people who were born here. Most
You
of
wanna know why
them
that
are
is?
so patriotic that they actually believe the
I never
crap
said
that
don't.
Donald Trump told them because he said, make America great again. And they are proud Americans. So they want to
I agree.
stand behind that to the point that they tokenize themselves. So why not
You
make
wanna know
these
why that
people
is?
feel like fellow patriots? Because as a I've been on the battlefield, they don't leave people behind and let them be thirsty and let them be hungry
Or suffer.
and they're supposed to be on the battlefield together. So why are we treating people who want to be fellow Americans like shit and then say I'm afraid of what they'll do when they get a little bit of economic growth or if they grow up in numbers? Why if they
I
do
never
that,
said
it's
I agreed with
because
that.
but if we do that, is if they do become some type of T group, 9 times out of 10, it's because we treated them like shit. But if we made them feel included so that they can also feel patriotic, we wouldn't have to worry about that being one more person
I
against
never
us.
said
It
I
would be
agreed
one
with
more
that.
person with us, right?
But they
I
normally don't
agree.
turn into T groups, Joe. Cause like
So instead of just
But that
saying,
was
"Hey,
his
come here,"
premise.
why don't we help Mexican government fix what they need to help get fixed so they
Inky,
can be great
But
too?
you
Why don't
guys
we
are the
like
same
is that not
ones.
a compromise?
You
I'd be
guys are
okay
the
with that.
same ones that are cutting U.S. aid because you said we
I
don't need to be
agree.
sending money
I
to
was
other
I was
countries.
just about to say that.
So
Cause Inky,
We can't
instead of
fix
just saying, "Hey,
problems in
come
other
here," why don't
countries
we but it's
without
because
money.
they don't fix it. That's because they don't
Jonesy,
fix the
we
problems.
Hold on,
So
Jonesy,
they can be great
Inky,
too.
Inky,
But you
hold on,
guys are
cause
the same
Is that
ones.
not a
I got
compromise?
loud at Jonesy. Jonesy, I
That
apologize.
are cutting
Inky,
U.S. aid because you
what
said we
you
don't need
fail
to
to
be sending money
realize,
to other
you can
countries.
literally
We
Google
can't
all of the
we can't
international
fix
policies
problems
that
in
the
other
U.S. has
countries
written.
But it's
without
because they
money.
don't
We
fix it. That's because they don't
undercut
fix the
South America.
problems.
We undercut Africa. We undercut Southwest Asia. All these issues where you're talking about terrorism and yada yada yada, we created that. We right now are doing to Ukraine what Bush did to
Democracy
Bin Laden.
created that because of
Stop. What we're doing to Ukraine is literally what we did to Afghanistan before September 11th. So you can't sit up here and say, I believe in human rights. I'm going to take your water. I'm going to take your food. I'm going to force these cartels to treat you like shit. And when you run to my border, I'm going to tell you can't come in. What we're doing to Ukraine is literally
right.
what
So
we
is it
did to
okay for the
Afghanistan
American government
before
to go in,
September 11th.
destabilize,
So
and
you
say,
can't sit up
"Okay,
here and say,
democracy's here," and then just leave and let
that's
all that
literally
No, it's
those
not.
tools stay
that's
behind?
literally
It's
what I
not
told
okay, right?
you're not listening because that's not what the
Who say that was okay though?
exactly because that's not what the
Right.
American
So is
government
it
was
okay
doing.
for
That was
the
what
American
right
government to
wing
go in, destabilize,
destabilizers
and
do.
say, "Okay,
That's why
democracy's
when you
here,"
have
and then just
liberals,
leave and let all
libertarian,
they're two sides of the same paper.
no, they're
It's
not.
not okay, right?
That's like saying the people who fought
I
to get
agree.
you
I
health
do
care
think
are
they're
the
two
same
sides
as
of
the
the same
people who are
paper.
telling you can't have health care. It's a difference. The people who want to, the people who defend human rights are not the same as the people
Can I
who
ask
are
you?
anti-human rights.
I partly agree
Can I
with you,
ask
Inky. I
Jonesy a
think
question?
I do think they're kind of two sides of the same paper, but my pushback is one is a fox and one is a wolf. I'd rather deal
Okay.
with a fox than a wolf.
I wouldn't even call
Right,
it
they're
that.
both very deadly. A fox is very, very
No.
deadly. You got to research what how
Yeah,
5 foxes are.
yeah, but
That's
I think that
hold
I
on.
would do
Can
better
everybody
with a
can
But
everybody
that's
fox.
being
pause? Can
technical. I
everybody pause?
understood.
Can everybody pause? Can everybody pause
My
real quick? Can everybody
pushback
pause real
is
quick?
one is a
Because
fox and
I
one is a
gotta get
wolf.
off soon and get to
I'd
bed.
rather deal with a fox
So let's
than a
go ahead
wolf.
and try to
They're both
wrap it
very
up.
deadly.
Yeah,
A fox
Inky,
is
everything
very
that
deadly.
we're
One last question.
give me a second.
Yeah, but
Everything that we're talking about today, everything that I heard today, one thing that I still am not clear about is why did you support the person that you support? Because he literally goes against everything that you would support. So let's go ahead and try to wrap it up. Yeah, Inky, everything.
That's like asking Inky if he would vote for Jasmine Crockett or Trump. He'll pick Trump just because of who Trump looks like, but he'll want what Jasmine Crockett is offering. That's a lot of these people.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm confused about.
So, to answer that question fully,
Kamala
From-
offered you the same thing for Jasmine Crockett or Trump.
no, she
He'll
didn't.
pick Trump.
Go ahead. Just go ahead and answer.
I
for
mean,
me.
hold on. Let me give you my point of perspective, so you can get a point on why I say no. She didn't offer the same thing. When it comes to terms of actual like stance of power for a world leader, I did not believe Kamala had the pants that needed to be brought to the table.
She wouldn't violate
That's
human rights.
what my thought was.
Hold on, why
So
not?
I went with
Inky, stop. Inky, stop. Inky, wait. Inky,
Sorry,
wait.
I was answering.
I got you. Well, wait. I asked a question. Why not?
Yep. I believe Kamala had the pants. Why not? What?
Why do you think?
Why did you think that she didn't have the balls to stand up?
Because she wouldn't violate human rights.
Inky, stop. Inky,
No, because everywhere that she went to speak, she had a different like aura about her. She was too giggly. Looking at that, it's just there's no seriousness. I didn't see. No. I didn't say that. I didn't say that she was too loving.
Wait, so
I didn't say she
Inky,
was too
so
loving.
Inky,
I did not
so-
say that.
Hold on, so Inky, she displayed more human emotion, and you think that's a problem?
No. Looking at that, it's just
So what are you saying?
that I didn't say that she displayed more human emotion because Donald Trump was just also displaying human emotion.
No, he doesn't. He's like a robot, bro.
You have to display human emotion.
Okay, great, but like, you said that the places that she went, she was giggly. So
No, he wants hate and he wants beat him up if you're in my rally.
No, hear me out. No, I feel like if Kamala was in the seat that Trump was in when they had that meeting with Zelensky, she would have let Zelensky walk all over her, allow the American military to go to the front line of Ukraine and start war with Russia.
why do you
That's what I
believe
was
that?
worried
Why do you?
about.
Hold on, wait, hold on, Abba. Let me. I really gotta.
Because Zelensky wants guaranteed
Hold on,
security
Inky. Wait,
by the
listen.
American people. He's already said that.
Listen. Why do you believe that? Why do you believe that she would have done that?
Zelensky walk all over her, allow the American military. Because what do you mean the Democrats
hold on,
want
wait,
to
hold
help
on,
Europe?
Inky. Just because Zelensky say that's what he wants doesn't mean Kamala would have followed it. So why do you believe that she would have?
No. Because she's a Democrat, and the Democratic's first push is NATO allies and giving our military resources to them for protection and security through agreements that we've made.
The Republicans
throughout
want the
history.
same thing.
Hold on, Bossy. This is
Not
what's funny.
since Trump.
Right, and that's the problem.
We want peace. We don't want war with anyone in any country. We
You are
want
so
actual peace. I
hypocritical,
agree
it's
with you.
retarded.
How am I
But if you hold on, if the
would you allow someone
Republicans
to come into your
hold on,
house
Inky, listen,
without
bro,
permission?
listen, Inky. If Republicans just want peace, they don't want war with anybody. Why are they agreeing with Trump to make Canada 51st state, to get Greenland, and to take over Panama?
That was a joke. Everybody's
That
taking all
wasn't a
stuff
joke.
in-
Hold on, wait. So Inky, it's a joke to go to war. Listen.
No, it's not a joke to go to war.
Okay,
It's a
then.
joke
So
to
he
make
shouldn't be.
Canada our
So the
51st state. He was
hold
trying
on,
to make the
hold on,
Canadians
Inky, listen,
patriotic to their own country.
bro. I'm just starting muting you from now on, bro. I'm gonna start muting you from now on. You gotta be quiet for a second. Hold on. Give me a second. All right, Inky, I'm gonna take you off mute, but you just can't run off the mouth, okay? Give me a second.
No, it's not a joke to go to war.
It's not a joke to say that we're gonna make our neighbors 51st state and militarily take over Panama. Those are not jokes, bro. I'm just starting muting you from now on. You cannot make those jokes as a sitting president. And to say that it's a joke is just placating to plausible deniability. Because if he does it, what are you gonna say then? It's not a joke. He wasn't joking, or Panama did something for us to invade. You just can't say these are jokes. You just can't keep placating to things that you know are wrong, bro. He was wrong to say that, and you know he was. You just can't keep placating to it as a joke.
It's not a joke, bro. They are deflecting.
he wasn't joking?
Like,
or
listen to
Panama
how
did
he
something for us to
talks,
invade?
and every time we
You just
bring up
can't
a
say these are
point
jokes.
that he
You
can't
keep
factually
placating
refute
to
or
things
bring
that
up
you know are
legislation to
wrong,
argue
bro.
against,
He
they
was wrong to
deflect.
say that, and you
The
know he was.
frustrating thing
You just
about
keep
all of it
placating
is
to it
he'll
as
I'm
sit
not
up here
trying to
and say
deflect. I'm sorry.
it's not a joke.
Bruh,
He'll
I'm
sit
only
up here
working
and
off what
say he
knowledge I
cares
have.
about human rights, he cares about yada yada, and then he won't support it. If it's nothing that Trump says, he doesn't care.
But I was gonna ask Jonesy a question, but then she had left. I don't know if she's still here.
Ask
Maybe
us.
I could use just ask you. Yeah. So if you were a server at a restaurant and you was making tips, would you rather
Wait. So
not
hold
have
on.
taxes put on
Let's
that?
go back. Let's go back. Hold on. Wait. Let's go back. I don't want to hear. I don't care about the tip thing. My question still.
It's my last
Hold on,
question.
Inky. Hold on. Wait.
I don't know if she's still here.
Ask
Maybe
us.
I could use just ask you. Yeah. So if you were a server at a restaurant and you was making tips, would you rather
Believe
not
that
have
just because the
taxes?
Democrats says that we want to support our allies in NATO.
I'm sorry to
Republicans say
interrupt,
we
but
want
it
to support.
paused and
Hold on. Wait.
interrupted. I didn't catch
I
any of
got you.
that.
Yeah. Why do you believe that what you said about Kamala, that she would have just let Zelensky do anything that he wants with the U.S. military, because she will still be the commander in chief? There is no reason to believe that just because Democrats want to support our allies in NATO. Republicans want to support our allies in NATO. We have to support our allies in NATO because guess what? We have treaties with them. We're legally obliged to support our allies in NATO. So you're saying that that you're afraid that Kamala would follow the law, international law? That makes no sense at all.
Why would America just declare war on somebody? Like,
We're not talking about
cannot
declaring
just
war.
do that.
We're not talking about declaring war. We're talking about supporting our NATO allies, which we're legally obliged to. Hold on, Hickey, stop talking, bro. We're not talking about going to war with people. We're talking about We're talking about supporting our NATO allies, which we are legally obliged to do. Now, you may disagree that we're legally obliged to do it, but guess what? We have treaties, so we're legally obliged to do these things. So you're saying that Kamala would have done something that she's legally obliged to do, and it's a bad thing? That makes no sense.
Ukraine's not part of NATO.
But
We
they
have
are an
obligation to
ally that
protect
we
them.
have a treaty with. That we're legally obliged to do it, but guess what? They're an ally we have a treaty with. So we're legally
Both.
obliged.
Let me interject real quick because I don't think he knows the history. When Russia, okay, put it like this.
I don't even
I mean,
care
I
about
can tell you
Ukraine.
about
That's the
some
crazy
history.
thing.
No. Hold on.
Hey, go ahead, Alan. Go ahead.
I'm gonna give you a quick synopsis. In the 80s, Reagan used the Taliban to break up Russia. He used the Taliban to destroy Russia. They fell apart. When Russia fell apart, they broke up Crimea, Ukraine, and a bunch of other little scattered states. When they broke
Yeah,
up,
the Donetsk and Donetsk Republic. I know all about that.
if you know about that, then how can you sound so incompetent?
Because you're not familiar with what happened. That's the thing.
Okay,
It might just be a cross-media thing where
hold
neither
on,
one of us
stop,
actually know.
Stop. So, did Ukraine have nuclear weapons?
Yeah, the Donetsk and Donetsk Republic. I know. Like, I don't know that.
Exactly.
They probably
So
do.
shut
They
the
probably
fuck up.
do.
Ukraine had nuclear weapons and they could have defended themselves against Russia. The U.S. said, if you get rid of your nuclear weapons, we will defend you. And that's how all this shit started. Shut
Like,
the
I don't know
fuck
that.
up.
They probably do. Listen, I told you I was working off the knowledge that I had, and I'm being informed
And
as I
you need to
go.
learn more. Shut up. The U.S. said that's the
I'm
problem,
trying
y'all.
to.
I'm not gonna tell you to
I'm
shut
not.
up. Hold on. I think
That's like blatant disrespect, though,
hold
from
on,
Adam.
Inky B. Let me. I want to say this, right? You sound like a
Listen, I
fairly
told you I
young
was working off
person.
the knowledge that I had, and I'm
You
being
know,
informed as I go.
your
I try to sound
algorithm.
young.
How old are you? Do you mind me
I'm
asking you that?
trying to.
I'm not gonna.
31.
Okay, I'm also 31. Okay,
That's blatant disrespect,
you
though,
have
from
to
Adam.
refigure your algorithm because it sounds like the algorithm that you have is not showing you factual stuff,
I try to sound
or it's
young.
showing you what we call in journalism op-ed, which is opinion pieces.
31.
It's not it's not based in any fact or any source. It's opinions. Because if you
I'm
knew,
multi-source.
if you knew, listen, I'm a librarian, so I know how
Mhm.
to,
Amen.
look at sources. I know how to look at legit sources. Okay, so I understand why some people have issues disseminating real real truth, real sources from fake sources. I get it. I don't fault people for that. But I just want to let you know that it's called the Budapest Memorandum. It was signed in the 90s. ABBA is correct. They gave up their nuclear arms, and we said that we would protect them. And I know that a lot of the people who might pop up on your timeline may say something like, well, we did an agreement with the USSR that NATO wouldn't get closer to the USSR. That's a bunch of bullshit too, because guess what? The USSR does not exist anymore.
Amen.
And I know that a lot of it doesn't exist anymore.
We're seeing more of the west side of all of the situation, though. If you look on the east, if you actually do open source and you look at the eastern perspective of it, the USSR disbanded because they were guaranteed seats in NATO, but screwed over in the end.
Wait. So if you look at how they
Absolutely the fuck not. Why was NATO created? Hold on, excuse me. Why was NATO created?
Open source and you look at the eastern perspective of it, enlighten me.
No. Tell me, why was NATO created?
Seats in NATO, but screwed over in the end.
Wait.
NATO was created after World War II so that all of the allies could team up against Russia if they started acting like assholes again. So why would they ever have had a chance to join NATO if the whole point of NATO is to band against Russia? That's the whole point of NATO.
Yeah.
That's the whole reason why NATO was formed.
You're asking somebody who just told us he doesn't know how any of this started.
Yeah, this is kind of insane at this point, yo. We've been at this for almost an hour now. I'm gonna go ahead and try to get out of here, yo.
Because it's like,
Good night, Bossy. I'll be in the comments.
Not a problem, Jonesy. See you later. Thank you.
I don't even. I want to say it's aggravating, but the saddest part of this is these people will argue until you corner their lie, admit that they're lying, and then when you're like, here are all the facts, they're like, I don't want that.
Not a problem, Jonesy. See you later. Thank you. Oh my God, it's insane. All right, I'm gonna have to get out of here, y'all, cause I have.
Hey, get some rest, bro. Hey, don't let this blow your head. I'll see you tomorrow or whenever I catch you back on.
Not a problem, man. Give me a follow. I appreciate you, Abba.
For sure.
All right, y'all. I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. I appreciate everybody who was here. I appreciate everyone who joined. You guys are amazing. You guys are wonderful. Remember, I have a link in my bio of all my social media links. I'm gonna try to get my YouTube and stuff so I could get guests. I'm trying to figure that part out. Issa, good night. I appreciate you. You're always welcome here. Jonesy, you're always welcome here. I appreciate everybody who was here for tonight. I appreciate everybody who taught me things and for us to call in and learn. A call-in number would be what I will work. Yeah, that's what I need to do. I need to get a call-in number. Good night. But all right, y'all. I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. I appreciate you all. Love you all. Remember to follow the link in my bio. Give me a follow on my YouTube. Give me a follow on my Twitch. Y'all go ahead and join the Discord. And I appreciate you all. But y'all have a good night, all right? Go ahead and get out of here. Yeah, Google Call has a call-in number. I actually have that. I'm gonna work on that later. Give me a follow on my YouTube. Give me a follow on my Twitch.